Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL. It's a pleasure to be back with you, certainly for yet more action. My name is, of course, George Morgan, and joining me, Jack Cannan. Jack, the championship hotting up, but at this stage, it looks like the two McLaren drivers are looking pretty sharp. Lucas Blakely currently at the top end. Barry Burman also at the highest point in the championship.
Yeah, it's a decent advantage for Barry heading into this round. Of course, we're here at Spa, where we've had many a fantastic Grand Prix, and every time we've come here, it has sprung a surprise. If you remember back to our first season here, Philip Preschnader was the man who won here last time. If we go back another season after that, Jake Benham challenging for pole position and challenging for the win as well against Jarno Wotmir, who ends up taking the win again. But Spa always provides for a great race, and championship-wise, yes, Barry Burman at 11 points at the top in front of Lucas Blakely, and McLaren also leading the Constructors' Championship by quite a substantial margin as well. But again, anything can happen. We're, I think, at the halfway point of the season now, so there's still plenty to come.
Yep, 7.004 kilometers. That is going to be 4.352 miles, and plenty of corners, 19 of them to be exact here at Spa. And we've got plenty of the best drivers in the world, certainly in terms of F1 esports, tackling the circuit here tonight. We're going to be heading over towards qualifying now. Q1 is very nearly well and truly underway, and we want to hear from you folks. Who are you backing this season? Please let us know in the live chat, and we will be reading through some of them as well. But let's head over to the circuit of Spa and join all the action. Jack, what are your thoughts heading into Q1?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, there's one thought that always crosses my mind. Who's going to be first out on the track, and who's going to go for the inters? The answer is it's Brendan Lee. So Brendan Lee, once again, the first man out on the circuit on the intermediate compound tyre, which, if you're unfamiliar, drivers use this just to make sure that the setup is loaded correctly, their wheel is working correctly, without bothering to use up a set of the dry tyres. So Brendan Lee now getting his eye in, going to get make sure that everything's working okay, but also provides entertainment for us with these guys out on the intermediate tyres, because sometimes they do like to give us a few drifts, and Brendan Lee, well, he's well known for giving us the odd 360 now and again. He did it on the way to the grid in Austria, so let's get the message to Brendan. Can you do that again, please?
Yeah, absolutely right. Brendan Lee now heading through towards the Jackie X left-hander. And Ferrari looking for a real big run, certainly with Fabrizio Donoso very much part of affairs here. And Ferrari, who have not had the easiest of times in F1 esports since the likes of David Tanitsa was hitting the top spot. They're looking to bounce back. Brendan Lee, of course, in the podium places as of late, has scored some decent points and looked very consistent as well. Hopefully he can bounce back again here at Spa and bring back some much-needed moolah for the team as well. But you have to say, Jarno Wotmir, we haven't quite seen the consistent race-winning performance that we have been so used to in prior seasons. Obviously dipped out for the V10R League, Jack Cannan, and a winner as well, taking that championship along with Team Mercedes. It was him, Bono Huis, and Cedric Tomei. But Jarno, obviously any win in any esports competition gives you that encouragement, gives you that, I suppose, positivity as well.
It does, yeah. So Mercedes coming through and winning the V10R League as well. But not only that, of course, he's not with us on the grid tonight, but normally our full-time driver, Freddie Rasmussen, coming out and winning the Formula E Accelerate Championship. And who was behind him in second place? Jarno Wotmir. So it shows you these guys have immense talent and the winning champions across the board. Freddie not with us this evening, but congratulations to him for winning yet another Formula E Accelerate title, which is fantastic to add to his category of wins as well. But Jarno is out on the circuit right now on his inters, on his, well, quote-unquote flying lap. It's not really a flying lap, but again, they're doing it just to make sure that they have the setup loaded correctly, that the force feedback is working, and that you don't waste a set of dry tyres when you don't exactly need to. So Jarno going to take us round to finish a lap. It's going to take a little bit longer for these guys to head around, so if you don't go out early on in the intermediate tyres, you're sort of committing yourself to an immediate dry run. You see the top half of the grid haven't bothered to come out, and you can see we have one driver filling in for Simon Weigang today is Philip Preschnader, and I mentioned him already, George, but he was the man who took the first win round here in the PSGL PC seasons.
Yeah, he did, and a very tenacious figure. Was part of Alfa Romeo Esports, of course, in prior F1 Esports Championships, and unfortunately was pretty much removed from that circle as well, and hasn't quite been able to retouch that top end of things, certainly in the world of esports. But he is looking to bounce back, and certainly given the fact that he is now in amongst the grid order here in PSGL, it's given him that great foundation to obviously go on and build, as we now watch Jana Watmir head through towards the final sector, and currently sat in 11th place, obviously on the intermediate tyres as he now rounds Blanchimont corner. And as a far gone tradition, certainly a standard tradition that we have seen in PSGL, adopting the wet weather tyres for the initial bursts of laps. Jana Watmir is certainly using that as he now rounds the bus stop chicane.
Certainly is, and we were just a fleeting mention of Alfa Romeo Esports. Well, they've of course announced their lineup very recently as well, and the man who's now donning Alfa Romeo colours, Tomek Paradzic, who's now made his way over to Alfa Romeo, goes to the top of the standings on the intermediate tyres. But Tomek getting his chance, going through challengers, and he's now got a full-time F1 esports driving alongside Nicholas Longe and Danny Perezne as well. So fantastic to see him on the grid in F1 esports and in his new colours as well. Patrick Sifos as well up to the top of the order for now for Alpine, of course, with his new teammate Philip Preschneider also moved over to Alpine esports as well. So lots of movement around the F1 esports grid, and well, of course, no Danny Moreno tonight, so the second Mercedes seat being taken by yet another Challengers driver, Samuel Bayen, who takes over that second Mercedes seat to date. No Thomas Ronhar available to take it either. And the second Haas seat which is obviously normally occupied by Matthias van Erven, Peter Stakelek taking over the wheel of that car tonight as well. So a few little changes across the board, but majority of the grid as well is still a full-time. And I should mention the second Red Bull seat. Who's filling in for Freddie Rasmussen, you ask? Well, it's Tymon Shooter, who's in the second Red Bull tonight for Red Bull. So there are the few little changes that we have got across the board, but still not too much happening in qualifying right now, just some intermediate runs, but expect things to get a little bit busier once we get closer to the, I want to say, the 10-minute mark, when we start to see drivers go out for their first runs, because again, it's a long lap around here in Spa. Nearly, as you can see, the intermediate time is about 1 minute 46, 1 minute 47 to go around, so you've got to factor in your out lap into that as well. So expect it to get a little bit busier now, but still no movement from anyone to come out on the dry tyres just yet.
No, not at all. Still time to go. We are within 11 and a quarter minutes. Of course, we're well in with that now. Very nearly into the 11th minute. And Patrick Sipos and Tomek Paradzic, the sole drivers to set lap times. Of course, not lap times we would consider notable lap times in terms of registering a time to get in towards Q2 with. A 1:46 can be very easily topped, considering that they're on the intermediate tyres. There's one other driver that's out on the track, and that's Płator Stachelek. And he'll be looking to obviously carry on his great form. Point scorer this season, has certainly come back and progressed, certainly in this championship. And a man that's very recently risen to the occasion. We saw his performances sort of improve towards the tail end of the F1 2021 game cycle. And since then, he's really come alive and started delivering, certainly for himself and his teams.
Certainly has, and he's heading into the pit lane now. The chance for him to show what he's capable of as he comes down the pit lane and now removes every single car from the track for now. Some movement though. As soon as he comes in, one of the Alpha Tauris coming out onto the circuit to give us some action out there. And it's, of course, Joni Tormala is the first man out onto the dry tyres, on the soft compound tyre. Out comes Joni Tormala. For Alpha Tauri, and just behind him as well, got one of the Alfa Romeos, Tomek Paradzic. He's straight out onto his set of soft tyres as well. So Joni Tormala will be the first to bring us around. Wilson Hughes also on his way out as well. So again, just as we expected around the 10-minute marks, things getting busy around Spa. And I think the nice thing about Spa is you've got so much space to work with, so it should be easy getting yourself a little bit of track space. Philip Preschneider out on the circuit as well. Marcel Kiefer also out onto the circuit now as well as championship leader. There he is, Barry Burman, who leads the championship by 11 points over his teammate Lucas Blakely, and at the halfway point got a decent lead ahead of him heading into this one as well. So looking really good for McLaren at the moment with Barry and Lucas up the front, but you cannot be complacent in PSGL around here, so you've got to remain consistent. But so far Barry's been mega consistent, 11-point lead in the championship, and he eventually, finally, George, broke my statistic that nobody won from pole. He did it last week.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. No one has done it since. Let's just give you an idea as to the pole positions this season. Of course, Thomas Ronhaar, the only man to score two pole positions in a single season. The other two to score pole positions this season were Lucas Blakely and Barry Burman. So both McLaren drivers racing in PSGL this season scored poles. Thomas Ronhaar, the only driver to score two this season. So that's not a bad stat whatsoever. We'll look forward to seeing whether Thomas Ronhaar can light things up yet again, as all the cars are now out on track, this time on soft tyres, as we're now watching them make their way around. Gianni Tormler now heading down the start-finish straight. He is going to be one of the first to set a timed run, heading down through towards La Source, and has also had a wonderful season in some cases. Of course, not perfect. I'm sure he would have wanted more, but capped off the start of his season with a 10th place single point in Bahrain. Followed that up with an 8th place finish at Austin, Texas. With the DNF following that in Austria, though, did get the fastest lap in that particular race, but 0 points scored in Miami. So a big opportunity for Gianni Tormler to bounce back here, Jack Canano.
Absolutely, former race winner, as we mentioned 2 seasons ago back in Zandvoort in the wet. The changeable conditions there, he made the best strategy call, came out on top there in front of, that was a double podium for AlphaTauri back for himself, Gianni Tormler, and for Sebastian Job, who also managed to get his first podium of the season there. He's on a lap right now, coming through No Name, dropping down towards Pouon, and see how he manages this down to 7th gear. Perhaps a tad wide there, but again, it's his first lap around here, just getting a banker time in as he heads down into the chicanes. Gotta make sure he gets the right line through all the way up on the curb through there, using every inch of the circuit. Down towards the braking zone for the right-hander here on the power. Nicely done. A little bit of a wobble through there, but gets away with it. And then the long run down to Blanchimont gets relaxed for just a few seconds more and line yourself up for the braking zone into the bus stop chicane. Blanchimont, well, it's not really a corner anymore. It's completely flat out in these cars. Slight kink to the left. Don't run out wide. Down towards the bus stop. Got to make sure you got the braking right for this. Onto the brakes. Down to 3rd gear. Flicking it into the right and to the left. Really slow corner, gently back on the power. Gianni Tormler will get us underway with the first time across the board of 42.6 is the first effort from him, which is immediately eclipsed by Tomac Prajic on a 42.3 as he comes across, and Wilson Hughes decides to go a little bit quicker on a 42.1. The initial time is coming in right now. All we're worried about is that bottom 5 from 16th down to 20th. They will be eliminated in this first part of qualifying. No times in for the majority of the grid so far, so we haven't quite got an idea yet of who's going to be up there as Barry Burman goes to the top, just slightly quicker than Wilson Hughes. Yeah, mere fraction separating the top end. Of course, Barry Burman now striking the top, and the top end of the standings as well is now well and truly clear of his teammate here in PSGL. Well, I'd say well and truly, just a little bit. 11 points, 45 to Barry Burman, with 34 points going to Lucas Blakely. Freddie Rasmussen in the Red Bull, in behind those on 29 points for Red Bull. And Marcel Kiefer, who we probably expected more of this season as well, Jack. We haven't seen him yet in the circle of race wins as such, but 4th place currently in Q1. He needs a big day today. Yeah, he certainly does, but he's as I said, a good banker time there in a 42.3 just in front of Lucas Blakely. Brendan Lee on a 42.236 goes up a little bit to the bottom 5, starting to take shape now. Philip Preston not on a representative time at the moment. Patrick Sipos as well, still in the pit lane. Jake Benham is on his lap at the moment, but currently in the drop zone. Samuel Bayan, Stakulek, Patrick Sipos, Philip Preschnader and Jake Benham are the bottom 5. Jarno, we're right on the cusp at the moment, but you would not expect him to stay there for very long. And just in front of him is Gianni Tormler, who set that initial time. But currently, Barry Burman quickest in Q1, 42.126, followed by Wilson Hughes on a 42.150. But again, we're just worried about that bottom 5 at the moment. And I've only realised about 5 minutes ago I said that Philip Preschnader was filling in for Simon Weigang, not noticing that Simon Weigang is actually on the grid. So it's John Evans he's filling in for because he's on holiday. Yeah, John Evans on holiday. So Preschnader coming in as backup for Aston Martin in this event tonight. As we now watch Danny Eliadad come into the pit lane. Still a 142.126 to beat. Barry Burman still showing that pace that we've seen
certainly over the last few seasons, has been tipped over by Jarno Opmeer in terms of championships since we started the PSGL PC Championship back in season 27 to 28. But it's Burman on top at this point. Has a very good record, Jack, of starting his season very, very well. We've seen the first 4 races in PSGL in prior seasons where Barry has certainly electrified, has hit the front in the championship, but sort of struggles to maintain that progression, maintain that pace, because the Flying Dutchman tends to come back and strike him usually late in the day.
Yeah, I suppose you could use this as the statistic that every time Barry wins an opening round in PSGL, Jarno Opmeer wins the title. So let's see if he can break that this season. He's got a large lead now at the halfway point, but he's got to make sure that he keeps it clean. Because if you remember back to the first race, and part of the reason that Philip Preschnader ended up taking the win was a safety car right at the beginning of the race, which caused Barry to get a drive-through penalty right at the very beginning and drop right to the back of the field. So you cannot be complacent and start to lose out. So I think he knows that, and he's desperate to break the hold that Jarno Opmeer has on this really prestigious championship. 2 minutes to go now, so if you're going to get a second lap in, you sort of need to go now as they all start to file back out onto the circuit. So a very short turnaround right here. Both of the Mercedes are coming down the pit lane now as well. It's going to get very busy out on the track, George, because there isn't a lot of time to get a second lap in.
Yeah, there's going to be 2.5 minutes, folks. Just to say, at the end of Q1, we are going to take a short break before we head into Q2. We're going to drop the stream and see if we can just smoothen out some of the little jutters that we've got going on here. I'm getting a bit of feedback from the OBS side saying that my encoder's overloaded. So it's not a network issue, it's an encoder issue. So we're going to try and solve that just before we head into Q2, just to make sure that you guys have the best streaming experience we can give. Obviously, that is my priority to you guys, so we'll look to deliver that as best we can. But for the final 2 minutes, let's keep our eyes peeled as to who's going to come out on top in Q1, who's going to be relegated in Q1. Let us know in the live chat, folks. Who do you think is going to be the one to dive out in qualifying? Who are we going to lose heading into Q2? Lucas Blakely and Brendan Lee, they seem confident, Jack. They've retired.
As has Barry, just says all right on cue. So they expect everyone else to not be able to improve. Wilson Hughes seems to think he's safe as well, and he more than likely is. Caraton is not bothering to come out either. So everyone from 5th down, except Lucas Blakely, is out on the track now, and they don't think that they will be safe. So it's getting a little bit crowded just after Pouon here with a big stack up of cars here. But the first car that will be crossing the line to start their lap in just a second's time now is Patrick Sipos in the Alpine. So he's going to get us underway with the final Q1 runs. He's in the drop zone at the moment, so he needs to get himself out of there. Philip Preschnader following suit as well. He's also in the drop zone. The other one of the Alfa Romeos, Tommy Paragas, he's P8, so not totally safe either. Nobody's really safe if you're down near the drop zone or in the drop zone, of course. If you're in it, you're out anyway, but anyone who's close to the drop zone is in a little bit of danger as well. But Patrick Sipos now needs to make sure he gets himself out of the drop zone and get himself clear into Q2. But certainly one man that needs to string a lap together as well is Jarno Opmeer. He got knocked out in round 1. He doesn't want it to happen again.
No, not at all. Patrick Sipos as we ride on board with him. Let's join him for a lap as he now makes his way out of Malmedy, down through towards the Bruxelles corner. This next dive in swinging right-hander, which sort of leads you around turn 8 in towards turn 9 at Jackie X Bend. Then back on the throttle, heading down through towards Pouon. He'll undertake this left-hander dive in swinger at turn 10 and 11, and before powering out towards turn 12 and 13, which leads you into the Les Farniers chicane. Now, we saw in the Formula Regional European Championship last weekend, certainly Hadrian David dip his toes into the gravel trap out of turn 13, and certainly you don't want to be doing that. These drivers need to make sure they can keep it on the track as now they make their way round this next right-hander. Very shortly they'll have Blanchimont corner to take, coming out of turn 16 and 17. As we now watch Sipos now, he's only got a mere few corners left in order to land a very, very good lap time, of course. All the times are going to come in thick and fast as the clock strikes 0 here in qualifying. Through turn 19 now, Patrick Saipos for Alpine comes up towards the line. What's it going to be? Third fastest, so 42.228. We got an Aston Martin coming through as well. Simon Vigan currently 10th fastest. Prežneda 12. Tomek Paradzis, he goes second fastest. Further back as well, Joni Tormela, he's up to P10. We got the Haas now of what looks to be Jake Benham. He goes 7th fastest. Further back, we got more cars coming through, including that of Timon Shooter. Marcel Kiefer, Danny Eliadad goes 4th fastest as well. Further back, Danny Berezne, he's about to come across the line. He goes across the line, 5th fastest too. As we're seeing Kiefer, he goes 4th fastest. As now the Mercedes comes in to join the fun. Otmir, can he come through? Samuel Bayen has gone 15th place. Jarno Otmir, a mere fragment. He's out. Jarno Otmir out of qualifying. Fabrizio Donoso goes fastest with a 42.092. Drama here, the Dutchman out of qualifying, Jack Kinnan.
Oh, it was so close as well, wasn't it? Less than a 10th of a second. Jarno Otmir knocked out for the second time this season in Q1. And that is a big, big loss. Samuel Bayen qualifying last of the pecking order as well. What a moment, and incredible again. The second time this season, it is Jarno Otmir out in Q1. But the man right at the very end who topped Q1 for Fabrizio Donoso with Barry Byrne and Tomek Paradzis, who set the exact same time. But as you can see, let's scroll down to the drop zone. Lucas Blakely was right on the cusp as well, wasn't he? Down in 15th. Joni Tormela, Timon Shooter, Philip Prežneda, Jarno Otmir, and Samuel Bayen knocked out. But again, George, 0.3 of a second covered the entire field here, and 0.2 from 15th to the lead. I mean, that is as close as you can get. But shock again, some big names out there, but both Mercedes out in the first part of qualifying, and Lucas Blakely just scraping through as well.
Yeah, incredible story, folks. We're just going to take a brief break. Keep it with us. Do not go away from this stream. We'll be right back once we solve the encoder issues. We'll only take 2 seconds. Speak to you in a bit. Obviously, we're still trying to solve some of the issues. We're hoping this might help. Obviously, it's a different game compared to last year. The F1 21 game, obviously, we didn't have any issues in terms of the encoder side of things. So I've tried using some alternate settings, but it seems to have caused a few problems. So apologies if things aren't as smooth as I would like them to be. Obviously, we'll try and find a fix for it for next time as well. Seems a bit of a troublesome one. But let's head back to the race screen anyway. Obviously, we'll try and give you as best action as we can. Obviously, we're here in Q2. Patrick Saipos, one of the few guys to have set a lap time. Jake Benham also setting one as well. Everyone out on soft tyres now, Jack. Obviously, the tyre rule in this era of the game has gone. So it's all on the drivers now to perform to the very best of their ability. Yeah, not showing any other times bar Saipos and Benham right now, folks. Obviously, Tomek Paradis is out on track. Folks, do bear with us. I'm going to drop the stream again. Obviously, apologies. But, yeah, we're struggling at the moment. Welcome back, folks. I'm hoping that this works. We are back now live. And I'm hoping that this is an improvement. There we go. Hopefully you're back with us. Jack, can you hear us?
Hopefully everyone else can hear me. You have no idea. You have no idea how stressful this is. Try when things break on you, etc., etc. So, sorry about this. If you are watching at home, we're doing our best here. Q2 is underway, halfway through at the moment. Q2 is now, we're dropping into the 41s now. Lucas Blake decided to make things interesting. 41.979. Barry Burman on 42.0. Marcel Kiefer 42.1. So top 10 there. We still have some drivers still yet to set some times outside of the top 10. We've got Alvaro Caraton, who hasn't set a time yet. Simon Weigang, Brendan Lee. So some big names still yet to get a time on the board. Simon Weigang popping up into third place there. Great effort from Simon Weigang, 42.124. Alvaro Caraton, he's invalidated his time by the looks of it. Brendan Lee doesn't look like he's on a push lap at the moment. He's still got some time to go. Looking at it here right now, actually he's on a push lap, just having a quick look. He's backed out of it just in the middle sector there. So we've still got some time. Tomek Paradis is still yet to set a time as well. Daniele Haddad now demoted outside of that top 10. So the man on the cusp is Jake Benham on 43.2. So there is still some time for him to find, and Patrick Sipos as well, who has invalidated his time through there. So 41.9 is the new benchmark. Barry Burman 42.0, but Lucas Blakely setting in a very impressive time. But you have to say Simon Weigang impressing there in P3.
Yeah, he certainly did, and coming back with a vengeance, because Weigang hasn't quite been on song this season, looking to try and get himself back to the top end of things, and it certainly has been a struggle, though he has officially signed with Aston Martin for this new season, and we'll obviously be looking forward to seeing whether he can continue, or certainly rediscover the form that brought him to F1 Esports in the first place. Of course, Weigang, a tenacious performer, a hungry performer, and we all know that he has the true raw ability. Here he is, just making his way through the next right-handers at a campus in Stavolo, and he'll then make his way in towards the third and final sector on this particular lap. A 1:42 or 1:24 is the time that he has registered, just sitting in behind that of the two McLarens up at the top end. Blakely in first, Barry Burman in second, and Marcel Kiefer now down in fourth place as well, in behind. Great showing from Kiefer. Starting to have a little bit of form coming his way now already in qualifying. He was up at the top end of things in Q1. We're starting to see that pace again in Q2. And Josh Idawu as well, who did not start the season with too much of a flourish. He is also coming back and trying to register some quick lap times. But we still got just over 3 minutes and 20 to go. Blakely on top, Burman second, McLaren in dominant form.
Yeah, once again, and it's a regular theme at this point. They're leading the constructors by a good chunk. They've got both of their drivers up the front end in Q2 as well, and both of their drivers are 1 and 2 in the championship as well as that. So they've got a stranglehold on this championship at the moment, going really, really well. Simon Weigang really good in there in P3. Marcel Kiefer going well in P4 as well. Josh Idawu also in there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars, if I'm looking at that, 5 cars on a 42.1 around the track. That's nearly it's quite a long lap, about a 1 minute 41, 1 minute 42 lap around here, and they're all within a tenth of each other around this very long circuit. So really impressive stuff from everybody. But Lucas Blakely, the first man into the 41s already. Caraton on an outlap, Tomek Paradis out on an outlap, and Brendan Lee out on an outlap as well, as is Daniele Haddad, as we're into the final part of Q2. still now, so this will be the final runs of Q2. It's all about being in that top 10. Now, Fabrizio Donoso, I actually don't think he's actually in the session. I think I don't know if he's managed to make it back in or not, but he will not be, by the looks of it, taking any further part in Q2, which is a shame for him, but a chance for an extra car to maybe get themselves through into the next part of qualifying, and that's exactly what they'll want to do. Daniel Haddad that's definitely not a representative time for him on a 48.5, so still time to find for Daniel Haddad, and you would expect nearly all of those guys to make it out of Q2, so I think there is going to be some surprise exits here.
No, absolutely right. Obviously, every car now out on an outlap. It's literally anyone's game. The only one who's currently sat in the pit lane is Fabrizio Donoso. We're currently watching Płatel Stachulek, who's leading down the outlap runners through down towards the start-finish straight, where he'll commence one final fast run. And we'll just watch the driver now make his way down through towards the bus stop chicane. He'll make his way through turn 18 and 19 before then tackling the main straight, before then venturing in towards Le Source. Stachulek, who is currently sat in 7th fastest, so 142.175. As rounds Le Source now out of turn 1. He'll have turns 2, 3 and 4 before then heading up the long straight up towards Les Combes as well. The Haas now looking to try and capture the form that has brought him to the dance. Of course, we've seen Stachulek at the top end of things, working his way out of F2, now up in towards F1, now up the Kemmel Straight, leading in towards Les Combes. This very, very fast section as he now turns in towards the corner, in towards the next left as well, before then heading out of turn 7 at Malmedy. He'll then make the descent down through towards turn 8 and in-swing it around Bruxelles. It's a very, very tricky first sector here at Belgium, Jack. Certainly the fast-paced section at Kemmel, and then, of course, you've got the fast Les Combes semi-chicane of sorts before you then venture through Malmedy. Very easy for mistakes to be made.
Yeah, it's very easy to track extend around here as well, but so you want to make sure that you, of course, don't. We want to make sure that you don't track extend because it's such a long lap to get back underway as well. So the timer is going to tick to 0, and now it's all about who can get the lap in to get themselves through into the next part of qualifying. Stachulek not improving in his middle sector, 9 1/1000ths down on this one. So he's looking like he will not improve, but again, I mean, maybe he can string it together a good last sector here, can the Haas of Peter Stachulek. So coming up to the line now, he's on a 42.175, but so are 5 other cars. So a small improvement can maybe just a little bit wide into the final chicane. He's going to have to dive out of that, so that's not going to be an improvement for Peter Stachulek. So that's not absolutely ideal for him in that sense. As they come now to the line, be Brendan Lee to cross the line next. He goes to second, 41.999. Yes, it is a 41.9 for him as they come across. Tommy Pradgett on the 42.084. It's getting very close now. Wilson Hughes popping in front of him on a 42.0 as well. Now the time's coming in thick and fast. Sipos has invalidated as he will not take any further part. Caraton does not make it in by a little bit. Marcel Kiefer goes up to the top, 41.964, and sets the benchmark time for Q2. Great effort from him. So by the looks of it, we're secure. Daniel Haddad does not do enough to get through. So it is Stachulek, Caraton, Haddad, Sipos and Donoso, the bottom 5 who are eliminated from qualifying. Still some times to come in this final part. Marcel Kiefer topping Q2 for now. Simon Weigang also on an improvement across the line, goes to 4th, 42.008. But how close do you want it, ladies and gentlemen, through there? I think about a 10th, 2/10 covering our top 10 there, and a brilliant effort from Marcel Kiefer to top qualifying here, as you can see. Well, Lucas Blakely actually came out in the final part, didn't even see it crossing the line, they did it so late. Does a 41.735, great effort. 41.9, 41.9, all the way down to Josh Idaway, who scrapes in on a 42.1. Stachulek eliminated, Caraton out, Haddad out, Sipos out, and Donoso, who didn't manage to set a time in the end. But you have to say, I think that's a really great showing and a good resurgence there, George, from Simon Weigang, comfortably back into Q3.
Yep, back up into the top end of things, and he's now going to be fighting it out for a pole position place, which is obviously a big boon to his career this season. Obviously, we haven't seen Simon at the top end for a long, long time, but obviously he'll have a huge boost of confidence knowing that he will be fighting for that very plaudit. Brendan Lee at the top end as well. Marcel Kiefer back again with a very sharp time too, up in the top 3 of all places too. So it's going to be a very different race to what we've seen, I think, all season long. Obviously, both Mercs cemented to the rear of the field. That opens the doors to perhaps a few other teams and drivers that may want to have a shout at potentially getting a race win on this race weekend. But we all know what Jarno Opmeer is like, Jack. He is very prudent to the last to first. We've seen that in the past. Is it a case that we could be seeing that, or is it just the case that he still hasn't yet discovered that pace that he needs?
Yeah, it's a hard question, isn't it? But at the same time, it's Jarno we're talking about. So I think what we're looking at here is still an adjustment phase. You know, he's got a win under his belt this season. He hasn't lost it. It's just maybe still some teething issues that he's still got to find, a little bit of speed that he still has to find. But we know he has done last to first many times. He hasn't managed to quite pull it off this season, but let's not count him out. You never can. He came from basically last on the grid in Bahrain to a 9th place finish. So anything is possible here in PSGL. So keep an eye out for Jarno Opmeer. All is not lost from 19th. He's won from there before, and I think you can certainly bet on him. You can certainly bet on him to put on another great performance, as he always does. As we get underway in Q3, then only one car has decided to come out on the track. Tomek Paradzic in the Alfa Romeo, who comes out onto the circuit for our entertainment purposes and gets a lap under his belt, but it seems very close. But Lucas Blakely, which kind of just passed him by there with the time he set at the very last possible opportunity in Q2. He was 2/10 clear of the next car on a 41.7. I mean, that's a huge gap to have going into this one.
Yeah, absolutely right. Obviously, Tomek Paradzic now out on an outlap. He wants to try and utilise the clean air, get himself in front, register a lap time to get things underway. Fresh soft tyres on the car, so you'll have every chance certainly to dish out a potential flying lap, as will many others. Obviously, clean air very, very important coming into this particular session. You don't want to get tripped up by another driver. Certainly heading through the sector 2 where the track starts to narrow. The first sector obviously very wide. Heading up through the Kemmel Straight, you can go 3, maybe even 4 wide up through that section. We've seen it time and time again in previous iterations of this Belgian Grand Prix circuit. Let's ride on board here with Tomek Paradzic as he now makes his way down through towards turn 1. The Alfa Romeo driver confirmed as part of the F1 Esports squad for this season. And Tomek, a Polish F1 Esports champion, as well as an F1 Esports Challengers champion as well, makes his way up through towards Eau Rouge and, of course, Radion as well. That'll be turns 2, 3 and 4 coming up next as he now heads up towards the Kemmel Straight. He'll then have the speed trap, which he undertakes, and then fires it up through towards turn 5. He'll then want to brake very, very steadily in towards the 100 board. In fact, he goes close to the 50 as he now makes his way through that next left and right out of turn 5 and 6 before venturing through Malmedy. He's got Brachel's corner coming up next. That's around turn 8 as he now loops the car, hugs the inside line, just gracefully grazes the curve, now heading through Jackie X Bend around this next left at turn 9. He'll then make his way down through towards Pouon Alfa Romeo, of course, who have won F1 Esports Championships in the past, of course. Their champion, Jarno Opmeer, of all people. Can Tomek Paradzic be the man to bring back glory to this team again as they now make their way in towards the next semi-chicane at Les Farnier out of turn 13, rides over the curbs. There you see the cars just getting out of the way, just sort of positioning themselves to allow Tomek through. 14th now, around 15th. They'll then make their way out of this particular section before venturing out of Paul Frere in towards Blanchimont. This next left out of 16 and 17. Very fast pace. Leave the foot down as he now flies through. Just grazes the curb on the inset in towards bus stop. He'll brake at the 100 in towards the 50. Brakes in, turns, takes, executes out of turn 19. Tomek Paradzic, first lap on the board. What's it going to be? It is certainly going to be an unregistered lap time, at least for now. I believe he invalidated Jack Cannan.
Well, it looks what he did, and Simon Weigang has also done the same thing on his out lap, thankfully. So he's at least done that on a lap that he didn't need to. But Tomek Paradzic now, that was a 42.638 if you're interested, the banker lap from from Atomic Barrages there, but unfortunately invalidated the time. So everyone out on the circuit now on timed efforts by the looks of it, except for Simon Weigang. He's just beginning his now as he comes to the line. So he'll be getting us underway for everyone on their banker laps at the moment. So just looking here to see who'll be the next car on a timed effort. Looks like it'll be Wilson Hughes who'll be the first to get us a banker effort. Coming around Blanchimont, he comes down to the braking zone for the bus stop chicane. Got to spot the braking on the left, using the curb on the way in. Loads of speed taken into the bus stop. There's so much commitment on the way through. Wilson Hughes coming to the line then. It is going to be a 41.8. Really awesome effort from Wilson Hughes. Straight out of the box. Lucas Baker was on a 41.7. And a huge time out of the board for Wilson Hughes. Great effort by the Scotsman there. Josh Odomu pops in a banker time of a 42.8. Brendan Lee next across the line on his first effort. Out of the bus stop chicane, out into the power. Let's see what he's able to do. Comes to the line. 41.836. Brendan Lee with the first effort. Great lap from him. Jake Benham, though, what can he do? He goes to 42.015. Next car, though, will be Lucas Blakely. What can he do? Can he eclipse the time of a 41.836 by Brendan Lee? He set the benchmark in Q2. Will he go even quicker now? The answer is yes. 41.71 he does this time. Lucas Blakely. Brilliant effort from the Scotsman. Barry Burman next across the line then for his first Q3 effort. Across the line, it'll be a 41.845. How close is that? Marcel Kiefer next. He comes to the line. Banker effort 42.886 for him. Next up, Danny Beresnade across the line. He'll be taking a 42.6 for his banker effort. But how about that from Lucas Blakely? 41.716 and so close behind. Three drivers in a 41.865. So, but again, advantage Lucas Blakely, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, very, very strong lap as well. Just over a tenth of a second faster than that of Brendan Lee, which is massive in PSGL. Simon Weigang, let's see what he can do here at Spa. He's been great in Q3 and Q2. Can he be great in Q1? Sixth fastest ahead of Danny Beresnay. He'll take that all day long, at least for now. You will have one final run after this one as well, folks, of course. We've only just graced the halfway point of Q3. 141.716 to beat. Now, who's going to come out on top? I want to hear your predictions in the live chat, folks. Who's going to grab pole position? Is it going to be the McLarens? Is it going to be Blakely? Is it going to be Brendan Lee? Could it be Simon Weigang? Could it be Marcel Kiefer? Who knows at this point? As now we're watching more and more cars venture downwards. They will, of course, all come in towards the pit lane and look to obviously get ready for one final run. Do let us know, folks. I can already see that there is some comments for one of the McLarens. Ibrahima Barry saying Lucas, as well as Timothy Doherty saying, wow, Lucas has come to play. He certainly has done. We're seeing Javier Mendez, McLaren 1-2. McLaren have got a lot of support here, Jack.
Yeah, they really do. The McLarens, well, I mean, they're dominating the championship at the moment, aren't they? Brendan Lee's decided he's going to nestle himself between them in the Ferrari for now. 41.836. Be great to see Brendan Lee on the front row of the grid here in Belgium as he comes out for his second run of the day here in Belgium. Lucas Blakely on his way down the pit lane as well. So it's going to get very busy. Again, there's a very short turnaround for both runs. They sort of just come in, get the new tyres on, and go straight out again. So there's a lot for these drivers still to do, but it's still, again, advantage Lucas Blakely with this final run coming up. He's got nearly a 10th advantage to the next car coming up, and we will let you know how he gets on as well. Just to let you know, there will be a lobby restart after Q3 to make sure we can get Fabrizio Donoso on the grid, because he hasn't been able to get back in. So if you're wondering what's going on there, there'll be a lobby restart. So we're getting everything tonight. We get multiple stream restarts and a lobby restart to cap everything off. But we're certainly getting the race this evening, but we want to make sure that Fabs gets on the grid tonight.
Yeah, well, the great thing about having lobby restarts now, Jack, is that because of the new tyre rule, you don't have to worry too much about the new tyre rule anymore, because, of course, the drivers can pick what tyres they want to start on. So that doesn't become a factor anymore. So it makes lobby restarts not as much of a painstaking issue as opposed to what it was last game cycle. So I suppose we'll take the positives on that.
Yeah, we certainly will. There are positives to take in this one, as we can sort of see now. Drivers trying to sort themselves out across the board. I just saw something very interesting there, but I won't say what it was. So we've got plenty happening across the board, but we'll get the lobby sorted out by the end in this one, as they all file out onto the circuit, or where I think they're coming out onto the circuit anyway. Not exactly sure, to be honest, where they are on the track, but we will figure that out in due course. But now, Lucas Blakely, can he get a 41.6, or will he go even quicker than that again as he comes out onto his outlap on this one, we think. We think there is desync as well at the moment, George, so we're not exactly sure where the guys are actually on the circuit.
No, you're getting a lot of your money's worth here tonight, folks. Obviously, first of all, we had issues with the stream, which seems to have sorted itself out now, I'm pleased to say. I don't want to curse it, but we are going quite well now. So it looks like we might have solved the problem in terms of the stream front, folks. So let's take the dubs where we can. Obviously, the next issue is the fact that now we might have some potential desync problems, but hey-ho, we'll strive onwards. As we're now watching all the cars make their way around. I have got a view on Jake Benham. He's currently out on an outlap making his way out of Malmedy. So I'm hoping what I'm seeing is true. What I can obviously see is migrating host happening at the bottom as well. So let's keep our eyes peeled. But we are still watching racing nevertheless. You are here watching the PSGL PC Championship. Lucas Blakely currently sat in P1 here in Q3. And he's going to look to try and encourage that too. We will bring you news when we hear it, of course, folks. Do keep us posted as time goes on. We will, we'll keep you guys posted as soon as we know, of course. But Jack, obviously, it's looking good for McLaren, just based off the facts that we've got in front of us. Brendan Lee back with a real bang too. Currently sat second fastest to 41.836. That is 0.12 away from Lucas Blakely. So a very good performance from the Scuderia.
It certainly is, as they begin their laps, I think. I actually don't know, because I haven't got any deltas. So, to be fair, right, we actually are not going to have a clue who's going to be on pole at the moment. So it's going to be a surprise to us as well, because my sector time is completely broken at the moment as well, and the drivers are also experiencing it as well.
Blakely's on for a 5-minute 45-second lap.
Incredible time. Yeah. Incredible time.
Incredible.
I've got nearly a 6-minute lap going on here for Lucas Blakely. So
magic.
I've got absolutely no idea what's going on.
Yeah. We have got pole lap, guys. 6 minutes. What do you think? It's looking that way at the moment because Lucas is on top. At the moment, he can use this as practice, and now it's reset to an outlap. So here we go, folks. Welcome to F1 22 for the first time on my return from Spa-Francorchamps. Do you know what? When I was at Spa last time, we didn't have this problem. We didn't have issues with lap times making themselves up. This is a new occurrence, obviously. But Blakely out on top, and a 141.716. It doesn't look like it's going to be beaten. Certainly a 6-minute lap isn't going to beat it. So there you go. That is how it is at the moment, folks. We are into injury time, incidentally. 2 minutes and 35 to go.
Yeah, and well, I'm looking in the PSGL drivers Discord, and they're all shouting at Jarno. They always find someone to fix onto, but yeah, but it happens. It happens, but at least we know we'll be getting a lobby restart, and we'll find out who's on pole. Well, Lucas Blakely coming to the final corner now. Let's see if we do get his times. It is marked as an outlap for us, but it did look like a very, very solid, tidy lap from Lucas Blakely, and well, I've no idea. It was a 7-minute lap according to that. So we are going to be treated to a surprise when we get through. By the looks of it, though, it looks like Lucas Blakely has managed to secure a pole position, but hey, we'll find out in due course. Stick with us for the next minute and 50 seconds on the lobby restart, and we'll let you know, because it's going to be a surprise to us too.
Yeah, absolutely right, folks. Obviously, we'll keep you posted, and I suppose at the end of this session, we'll take a brief ad break, and we will be back and give you some knowledge as to what that qualifying grid is going to be. But I tell you what, drama here in PSGL. Obviously, we see it week after week. It never gets it certainly never gets any less exciting, that's for sure. We get to see certainly lots of different things happening on a broadcast week after week. Of course, some of you may remember the Monza broadcast of last year. That was, of course, a very exciting routine that we had to face, but obviously we're rediscovering old territory this time at Spa-Francorchamps. But there you go, folks. According to the game, Barry Burman is on pole position with Lucas Blakely in second, Danny Perezne third, with Wilson Hughes fourth, Tomek Parajic in fifth, Brendan Lee sixth, Simon Weigang in seventh, Jake Benham eighth, Marcel Kiefer ninth, with Josh Idu in 10th fastest. Obviously, keep it with us, folks. We will let you know if those times are legit. And we're going to
think they are.
You think they are? So there you go, folks.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to take that
We've
as
had
gospel.
updates from the streams. We've had updates from the POV streams. That is a legitimate time. So Barry Burman is on pole, but it's a McLaren 1-2. Again, 6/1000s, but great performance by Daniel Perez now. Round of applause.
Yeah, credit to them. McLaren up at the top end of things once again, folks. But we're going to take a brief break. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back, folks. We are back live here at PSGL. Welcome back to the PCF1 night tonight. Obviously, it's great to have you all with us, and we are back with a bang, certainly here at Spa-Francorchamps. Jack, a funny end to qualifying. Obviously, we didn't expect to see all that happening, but nevertheless, we got an idea as to what the grid will look like, and it looks like McLaren once again up at the top end. The pace that they have got so far in this game cycle has been unbelievable.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive. And again, another 1-2 to add to their collection in qualifying. And another pole position for Barry Burman to add to his collection as well. But I'm not sure how long they'll be able to hang on to P1 and P2. We'll be able to see when we get down into turn 1 as we just waiting for the lobby to get up underway. And
I've had an invite, so that's a
I have
good
had
sign.
it. Yeah, that's a good sign. However, it would be nice if my game didn't crash.
Oh no!
We're having a great day, guys.
Oh no, guys! I tell you what, no, these things do happen. Obviously, this is the wonders of league racing. Obviously, we have not only do the drivers have to deal with the engineering side of things, we also have to be engineers ourselves because we have to engineer a broadcast, which is very, very tricky. But we're doing our best, and we will be back with the race very shortly. Obviously, they've got to try and work the grid out because obviously with it being a new lobby, they have to customize the grid in order to make sure that the cars are in the right places. But going off the back of what we saw in qualifying, as I alluded to, McLaren certainly looking very, very fast. I think obviously we'll go back to it, Jack. Obviously the big surprise was Mercedes because we would have expected perhaps a little bit more from the likes of Jarno Opmeer and obviously Samuel Bayen as well, obviously coming into the seats as opposed to Danny Moreno at this point. Samuel Bayen, a very fast character as well, is known to be a race winner, and certainly we've witnessed his rise coming through out of F2 in towards F1. Made a few F1 appearances last season, very successfully too. Big shock to see them at the back of the grid, don't you think?
I think so. Yeah, it's nobody really expected them to be sort of that far down so early on, but things happen. The stuff changes between games, and obviously as well you got to factor in he's been focusing on V10R, he's been focusing on Formula E Accelerate Championship as well, so he's had other areas to focus on. So there is that element as well, and obviously just didn't quite get the practice in for tonight. And when you don't practice in PSGL, it shows. And there you go, P19 on the grid and P20. So there's work to do for Jarno Opmeer, but we've got to be sure that he'll bounce back.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to wait and see. I mean, this could be a classic tonight, folks. This could be a classic. Obviously, you never know. We know what Opmeer is like from the back. He has won from the back before. Now, let's not forget safety cars. We've had safety cars in the past that have led to a lot of stirrings in the grid. And we've seen lots of different results as well. But the beauty is we have seen plenty of race winners, not to mention podium sitters or pole position sitters. This has probably been the most varied classification of drivers we have had in all our seasons of PSGL. Every driver has a chance of winning. Every driver has a chance of scoring points, which is great. I mean, I hark back now to the pole position factor. Obviously, Thomas Ronhaar, as I alluded to, up to this point, the only man to score 2 pole positions. Of course, Barry Burman has just taken 2 himself. So that's 2 drivers now that have scored pole positions twice in a season. Both Barry Burman and Thomas Ronhaar. The only other pole position going to Lucas Blakely now as well. So Burman joins the 2 club this season, which is a good showing. But let's talk about Thomas Ronhaar as well, Jack, because what a start to the cycle this man has had. Young man, came from Xbox, moved his way through, came into PC like many did, and has really found himself on the pace. I mean, obviously we saw what he was like last season, very, very quick. But did anyone expect him to be as quick as he has been at the start of this season?
think he's been a surprise package at Thomas Ronhaar. I don't think none of us expected him to come straight out of the box and get a pole position in this season, but to get 2 and go back to back with pole positions, it was an incredible performance. He didn't quite convert it to a win, but I think he's proven how quick he is as well. In that fact that the only other man who's gone back to back now is Barry Burman from Miami to here, and Thomas Ronhaar in the previous 2 rounds. And again, like you mentioned, Lucas Blakely taking the first pole position of the season back in Bahrain. So you can see that it's sort of incredible when you say that McLaren have taken 3 out of the 5 pole positions so far this season, and Mercedes the other 2. There has been nobody else on pole except McLaren and Mercedes so far this season, which and as well, the Mercedes driver was a reserve as well. But I think that shows enough how quick Thomas Ronhaar is.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that he can just come in on a race weekend, certainly here at PSGL, and score where they needed him most, I mean, that is just superb. And that is certainly what makes a driver very desirable to a team as well. Obviously, Ronhaar, off the back of his success last season, we all saw what he did when he jumped into the PSGL grid. Remember, a lot of the esports teams keep their eyes on PSGL, certainly the top tier of racing. Ronhaar was very quickly snapped up after his debut run in the likes of PSGL and WOR. As soon as they saw that pace, he was signed to the team. I believe the announcement was made in record time, Jack. It was literally a case of a couple of days and he was there. I believe it might have been the night after the WR stream where, of course, he picked up the win at Portimao, I believe it was. So absolutely incredible. Just goes to show what a difference league racing can make, certainly to a young career. And we'll have to see how he flourishes, of course, should he get an announcement or certainly a seat in F1 esports, because I think on the basis of what he's achieved this season, he certainly does deserve it. Obviously, other names we've got to look out for, more young guys coming through, the likes of Wilson Hughes, who has certainly been peppering the point sections this season, but also Jake Benham. And we saw a lot of the All-Star last season too. He's come back again this season, probably not to the same success that we saw last year, Jack.
Not quite, but he's still up there, and he's still putting on a great performance, as is Wilson Hughes. I think Wilson Hughes has been a great package so far this season with his performances. He obviously was running up in the top 5 in Bahrain, was unfortunately turned around by Brendan Lee towards the end, but he's been performing really well, really consistent qualifier as well, consistently in Q3. I don't think he's been knocked out of Q3 so far this season, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been in every Q3 session this season so far, which has been a really great turn of form for him, and he's solidly getting himself up in at least the top 5 in almost every qualifying session. So great improvements from Wilson Hughes, and a solid trajectory that he's on right now. And he's just, if things fall right for him during a race, I don't think he's a bad shout for a win.
No, not at all. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled, and certainly with the grid being the way it is, I mean, obviously it's a huge opportunity for someone like him to score some big points. Obviously, driving for the Haas car this season. He drove for them as well last year in the PSGL Championship, but obviously there's going to be many others knocking on the door for that win too. Obviously, lots of them looking to try and get their esports careers off the ground too. The likes of Tomek Parantzis, who I did allude to, winner of the F1 Esports Challengers Series, which you have to admit he did that in dominating style, Jack. He was very, very good. Obviously, it's strange with Tomek. It feels like he's been around for such a long time, almost feels like a journeyman in the world of league racing and esports. We almost forget how long he's been around, I think, but also forget about how young he really is, and the fact that he can only just now qualify for F1 esports.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still lots of time for him. As I was waiting, I was the last person to get an invite, by the way. Just to point out, I want to point that out on stream. I was the last person.
Do you feel cheated? Do you feel cheated?
Yeah, I feel violated that I was the last person.
The Canan has been violated, folks.
Yeah, I got an invite as I was loading into the. And by the way, the countdown was on 5 seconds just there, and I managed to press spectate in record time. So just to point that out as well.
So P1 for Jack Canan for hitting the button so quick. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's sensational. No, I mean, it's great. I mean, obviously, alluding to the fact we were talking about Tomek as well, his great recovery. Well, certainly not his great recovery, but his great journey that he has been on to, score the championship win in challenges on the PC side, and now get that seat in F1 esports. He feels like he's been around forever, but at such a young age, we almost forget that. And he is now about to commence his first full season in F1 esports, which has to be exciting for him.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's definitely exciting for him, and he's got so much. He's still got so much ahead of him. So we're hopefully going to be getting underway in a few moments' time as well. But there's no formation lap, which is I think an interesting thing that we've got as well. As we're heading straight into the action. We don't get a chance to warm up. Neither do they. So they're going to jump straight in.
Yeah, they certainly will do, folks. So what we're going to do is we're going to head to the race screen now because they're literally going to jump off the line faster than anything. So we're going to have to keep you on this screen as soon as we know when they're going to go green and hit pedal to the metal for the Belgian Grand Prix. You can see the cars currently on the grid as we're now waiting for everything to certainly kick off for us. Keep us posted, folks. Obviously, I want to hear your predictions as well in the live chat. Please let us know who you think is going to come out on top in this event. I'm a little bit concerned because I've just seen that Yanni Tormel has just left the session.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Keep it with us, folks. Obviously, we hope we'll have some updates for you very shortly. Obviously...
We're restarting again.
We're restarting again, yeah.
We're restarting again.
Is that official?
Yeah. I've just checked. Kryptonite has called for a restart again because Yanni's game crashed on the way through.
Oh, no. Okay,
well,
we're back, guys. We're back in the room. You get the George Morgan Jack Cannan experience yet again. So we'll keep you posted as things continue. But we are going to get a race. Trust me, we're working on it. We're going to give you absolutely every assurance that we're going to bring you a race. So obviously, apologies for obviously the lack of racing up to now. But you get an extra dose of me and Jack Cannan, so that can't be bad, can it? Let's take another look at the circuit. I think obviously that would be something we can do. Here is Spa-Francorchamps, 7.004 kilometers, 4.352 miles, 19 corners, and you've got 2 DRS detection zones here at this particular circuit. Of course, one that leads down the start-finish straight, and then not forgetting the one that will launch you up through Kemmel, and plenty of opportunities for overtaking. And where better than at Spa-Francorchamps? And certainly the Sector 2 point can be very, very testing. Certainly heading out of Brochel's corner in through the left-handers at Jackie X before then venturing into the Lafanier chicane before the double rights at 14 and 15. It can certainly be very, very tough. You can make several mistakes if you're not on the ball through the middle sector. But then you've got the nice fast-flowing latter sector 2, which can certainly offer you plenty of opportunities for overtakes too, as we will be seeing, I'm sure, drivers taking every opportunity possible. That heavy braking zone at bus stop, Jack, is certainly an opportune moment for an overtake as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many places to overtake as well. But like we said, the races here, we realize sort of follow a formula, if we call it like that. So what I mean by formula is that normally, because of the way the game works now with the new tire rule, it's a very settled first part of the race, we'll say. A lot of DRS train, a lot of following. And then as soon as the pit stop phase kicks off, it really kicks off, what we've noticed. So don't expect too much action in the first sort of little bit of the race until we sort of get towards the first pit stops or close to the pit stops, when that's when guys will start to make moves and start to make themselves known around. But expect plenty of following around here. But if you can make a position up on lap 1, I think there'll be a lot of guys just kind of settling in, saving ERS, saving tires. So that's the formula we've noticed, and I think that's the one we're going to follow as well. As third time lucky, George, this time, do we reckon?
I'm feeling positive about this one, Jack. They say that things come in threes, and I'm hoping that this happens as well. So Yano has just sent me an invite to the new lobby. So we are in, and we will be bringing a race, folks. We are so determined to bring you a race here tonight on here at PSGL, and that's just how committed we are, certainly here on this Wednesday night. Obviously, we're looking forward to Spa. I'm personally looking forward to it, and I got to go to the 24-hour Spa weekend recently. In fact, I've only just come back from it. So I was there last weekend covering Formula Regional European Championship. And there are very few circuits that are more exciting than this one, because obviously the sheer history behind it. The circuit opening back in 1921 in August. Ever since that year, it's delivered time after time. Obviously, it looks a little different to the way it was back in 1921. But nevertheless, the action has never stopped coming. We've seen many great moments over the years, and it never stops delivering. What are your fondest memories of Spa?
That's a tough question. I mean, even though I wasn't alive for it, I mean, Spa 98, Jordan winning, you know, and I think that's it. I think, and as well, you know, here comes Sebastian Vettel. I'm a Vettel fan, so that's a memory that sticks in my head for me. Drivers have joined the lobby in record time. I've never seen them join a lobby so quickly. And
they're keen to get underway.
Determined. They're keen to get underway, and I think now is the time to point out as well. I'm glad they restarted the lobby. I didn't point this out, but I actually wasn't in the session. I was staring at the lobby screen when the race start was about to get underway. So
no, you didn't say
I'm sort of half glad. No,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, but did you get an earlier invite this time?
I did, and I'm already in. So
there you go. They must have heard your cries on the stream earlier on or something.
Yeah, I was typing in the Discord saying, guys, can I get an invite? And then Jarno said, oh yeah, no, we're ready. And then Kryptonite was like, wait, no. And then they started. So I was staring at the lobby screen. But
Brilliant.
I'm in, everyone's in, and we're gonna get a race. Positive vibes.
Yeah, and I want to hear from you now, folks. Let's light up this live chat because you guys have been far too quiet over there. Let us know who you think is going to take the win as we head into Spa-Francorchamps, round 5 of the PSGL PC Championship. Please let me know who it's going to be. Obviously, we've already seen the qualifying session, of course. The McLaren team looking very, very strong here this weekend. And we're seeing the comments come flying in now. Unknown Fate, Jarno Watmere, comeback drive incoming. Jarno comeback time. Lucas, Brendan Lee. What else we got? Marcel Kiefer, Jarno, Barry. Jarno will win. Hope Jarno P1. Jarno easy win trust. Barry, Lucas Blakely, Otmere. Jarno for win. D's nuts. I agree with that one. I agree with that one. That's my winner.
Agreed.
That's my P1 sitter. Jake Benham. There's a vote for Jake Benham as well. The All-Star gets a tip of it as well. Oscar Piastri, he gets a mention as well. Best of luck this season. George Morgan to win. I win every day. It's fine. George Morgan to take the W.
He's winning today.
I've had more votes than Benham. This is brilliant. Yeah, that's great. That's superb. But yes, guys, we're looking forward to this one. Lucas Blakely gets some as well. More votes for D's Nuts as well. Bill Cosby gets a vote too. Dan Field gets a vote. George gets a vote too. Jake, Jarno. Who else have we got here? Mike Schmall as well. Not sure who that is. Brendan Lee gets a vote too. And Nikita Mazepin. Unfortunately, we can't go down that road. Blakely and plenty for Jarno. Guys, we love you here at PSGL. Thank you for sticking with us through this large amount of time. We'll head to the race screen now. As you can see, loading getting underway very shortly. We will bring you a race. Big thank you for being so patient and sticking with us. Obviously, it's been a very, very strange evening in terms of the broadcast and certainly in terms of the game as well. But we are going to bring you a race. We're determined to bring you a race. So thank you for keeping it with us. And we will bring you all the action, of course. We're just waiting for the players to get underway. Jack, any tips from yourself before we head into it?
Well, I think the sort of safe route to go is a McLaren is gonna win. But let's see. You know, Barry has got a good championship lead. Lucas needs to maybe start making a dent in that championship lead against Barry. But it'll be interesting to see Danny Beresnay starting third. So let's see what he can do from P3. No formation lap. So we've got 10 seconds until we get race underway. Finally we're racing, and let's hope it's a good one.
Here we go, folks. Let's make history. Timer ticking downwards. The race will get underway. We will be seeing the lights very, very shortly. Here we go. Round 5, third light, fourth light, and the fifth light here at Spa. And it is pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 go. Barry Burman who leads the way. Lucas Blakely joins him heading through La Source now as well. Danny Beresnay still holds on to third place. Wilson Hughes in fourth. Marcel Kiefer. There's a car running off wide as well as we now watch Lucas just flaring all over the rear wing there of Barry Burman as they make the almighty climb through Eau Rouge and Radion. Enter Wilson Hughes as well into the fight, towing along Marcel Kiefer as they now head through the Kemmel Straight. There's 3 wide further back as well. Here they come. Here comes Kiefer with Wilson Hughes. Wilson Hughes not quite able to usurp there. Marcel Kiefer further back. Jake Benham and Josh Idawu coming together with Jake Benham holding off the AlphaTauri. But it's Burman who leads. Blakely in second. Beresnay in third place. Jack Kinnan as he battles with Marcel Kiefer.
Yeah, Marcel's decided to go for soft tyres, and everyone else is on the hard compound tyres. He's flying through them. Look at this, Marcel Kiefer trying to make use of these soft tyres early on. Josh Idawu as well on the soft tyres, battling with Jake Benham, gets himself through as they come through Puon. But Marcel's got so much grip, they've got no tyre temp. Here comes Marcel Kiefer on the inside of Lucas Blakely, round the outside, comes into the inside of the next part of the Lafania chicane. He's up to second place. So Kiefer desperate to make early use of the softs, and he's making really good work of this now as they come around the next right-hander, sitting in behind Barry Burman. Great start from both McLarens, though. You see them weaving, trying to get tyre temperature in as well. As Josh Idawu now, he's desperate to get past Jake Benham as well as one of the Ferraris of Brendan Lee. Jake Benham on the medium compound tyre as well, so switching it up a little bit as they come up to the bus stop chicane for the first time, sitting in behind the Ferrari, desperate to make a move now, sets in behind. Brendan Lee moves out to the right hand side. Josh Idawu going to follow through as well, and Brendan does not fight that, lets them both through on their alternate strategy. But after lap number 1, clean start from the McLarens. Barry Burman leads lap number 1 with a very fast charging Marcel Kiefer behind.
Yeah, a very, very bold start by all the drivers as well. Positions being made through the grid order. Barry Burman holding back the force, but though he does have Marcel Kiefer right in behind him. Here now the cars venture their way up through towards Eau Rouge and Rally. On Time and Shooter has just gone up into 12th place ahead of Yoni Tormala, but now Marcel Kiefer, as he now looks to try and usurp that of Barry Burman, the fast Iranian. Can he stop Kiefer as they now rise up through Kemmel? Coming up now through towards Lake Com. The Red Bull looks to go side by side with the McLaren. P1 now for Kiefer as he now strikes the front end. Burman now relegated to second place with teammate Blakely in third. Beresne now down in fourth, and these three are now starting to pull steadily away. Now 6, nearly 7 tenths separating Beresne and Jake Benham, who is now in fifth. Wilson Hughes now 6th place. Brendan Lee now down into 8th, Jack Canan.
Yeah, this is good stuff from Marcel Kiefer. This is exactly what he needs to do on the soft compound tyre. He needs to break away and break the DRS as well. Good, and I like that they're trying something different rather than all going the same. And most on the hard compound tyre. Jake Benham, P5 on the mediums as well. He's making ground on Danny Beresne as they come through now. But look at that, Kiefer out to a second now already. But of course as well, his tyres will go off quicker, but he's already broken DRS. That's the key point here, and he's using those soft tyres very well. Josh Idawu as well on the charge on the soft tyre in P7. Jake Benham up behind Danny Beresne now, probably the most likely to make a move out of anybody. Up towards Blanchimont now, thinking about it coming through. Blanchimont sticking in behind Beresne now. He has to go to the outside. Beresne defends the inside line, but again, nothing you can do about the blade breaking of Jake Benham, and he moves it up into P4 into the bus stop chicane, and Jake Benham continues his charge, but Marcel Kiefer is on a flyer. 1.5 seconds pulled already.
Yeah, brilliant stuff certainly from Jake Benham, moving his way up the field again. 4th place now ahead of Danny Beresne, who is now down into 5th. Remember, Beresne was further up. He was in 3rd place and has since dropped down to 5th after getting usurped by the likes of Marcel Kiefer, who still leads. Kiefer is now pulled out using those soft tyres. Now 1.6 seconds faster than Barry Burman at this stage. Lucas Blakely in 3rd and 4.5 tenths in behind his teammate, trying to gain closer and closer as now we see once again Beresne this time having a look down the outside of Jake Benham. No move could be made though at that point, and resides in 5th spot. Josh Idawu on those faster 2-lap old soft tyres with a penalty to his name as well, which is not the most ideal way of commencing your race here at Spa-Francorchamps. You want to obviously try and reduce as many likelihood of penalties as possible, because of course these race time moments certainly matter quite a lot, and definitely towards the end when the results are decided and there's only mere fragments between these cars, time penalties can prove to be very, very costly as they now make their way down towards the next right and left, heading through the Lafania chicane out of turn 13 now. Wilson Hughes heading down through towards Campus Corner with Josh Idawu, the Welshman, stuck all over behind. Oh, very, very nearly making a mistake there. Josh Idawu very nearly losing the car. It sort of slipped away from him slightly there, Jack. Struggling on the softs this early on is not a good sign.
No, he's trying to use them, and he's used up a lot of battery at the same time as well, but he is trying something else. So now he has picked up a time penalty, but of course that can all be removed in the steward's room if he has, of course, evidence that it was a double warning. That can sometimes happen, receiving 2 corner cut penalties despite only going off once, and he's coming into the pit lane straight away. Josh Idawu, early pit stop for him, getting it slowed down for the pit lane on those soft compound tyres, so he's going to swap off them and get onto a fresher set of the tyres that he wants to go on to now. But Jake Benham, let's go back to him now. He's charging again after the McLarens here. He's got Lucas Blakely as his next target, up Eau Rouge over the top of Radion. He's flying in overtake mode. Blakely can do nothing about this. DRS open. Does Blakely defend it? I don't think he is going to, or going to bother. Different strategies here, but now Jake Benham moves up in front of Lucas Blakely, slots in behind Barry Burman as well. But now you can see, George, now the gap that Marcel had of 2 seconds starting to come down, to the softs are already going off.
Yeah, they are indeed. Certainly, it's amazing how quick they do deteriorate. And of course, Kiefer's going to be worrying. He's going to be seriously worrying because, of course, he's already put 3 laps. He's only going clear of Burman by 1.8 seconds. Now, in the long run of things, that is not a safety net, because as time draws on, if Barry can still extract enough pace out of the hard tyres, that will put him in a very good position, of course, when all pit stops have finished, to hold on to the race lead advantage. Though you have to keep your eyes on Jake Benham. Obviously, the medium tyres are very questionable around a track such as this. Now, he might be able to extract just enough out of these in order to make them last. Obviously, I'd imagine he's going to have to make a judgment call as to whether he opts for the hard tyres or the soft. Certainly, it depends on how long they go into this race. Certainly, judging off what we've seen from the softs already after 4 laps, it doesn't look like they're going to last very, very long at all.
No, but it is an interesting call. Time and Shoot has gone onto them as well. He's in P11 at the moment, so the only other good driver on the medium tyres at the moment. But Jake Benham, there he goes. Marcel Kiefer carrying on for a lap or 2 longer, but he has managed to get that gap back out to 2 seconds now. So comfortable by the looks of it for Marcel Kiefer. But Jake Benham, he wants to get the move on here. He wants to get past Barry Burman, who is in 2nd place on those hard compound tyre. Lucas Blakely behind, then Danny Perezne, who follows closely behind. But Josh Ido was the first man to make a pit stop. He's down to 19th, of course, but he's got 16 seconds up to the next car. And everyone, the whole field is in a DRS train, except for Josh Ido. He's going to struggle down there. He's into the pit lane again, so he's obviously not having a good day of it, is Josh Ido, and that just says it all. He's unfortunately his 2nd retirement from this Grand Prix, but you can just see, look at that, Kiefer pulling out 0.4 of a second in the first sector already. So obviously that sector we saw last time from him, not a representative one, obviously had a mistake, but immediately 0.4 in the first sector. His softs are still hanging on pretty well by the looks of it.
Yeah, he certainly looks like he's got more out of them. 2.4, very healthy advantage now, another 0.4 in a single lap. That is a good sign of pace from Marcel Kiefer. We'll have to see how well that serves him as we head deeper and deeper into the race. Barry Burman still in 2nd, with Jake Benham hovering all over his rear. Of course, Jake Benham medium tyres, 0.6 now back from Barry Burman, as we now watch them head through the Lafanier chicane. Danny Perezne, another man who is certainly looking to try and surge himself back to the top end as well, confirmed for Alfa Romeo for the brand new F1 eSports season. Of course, being joined by Tomek Paragis, of course his teammate in the Alfa in this race. Currently sat in 8th place, Tomek Paragis, and currently trying to keep the force of Simon Weigang at bay as well. The Aston Martin 9th place, with Caraton in 10th. Time a Shooter in 11th as well. He's also on medium tyres, sharing a similar strat to Jake Benham, as the cars now make their way through the bus stop chicane once again. And Jake Benham now 0.5 away. Is Kiefer, who is now in the pit, and he's going to be making a change. Barry Burman now leads the race, as he did so at the very start, heading out of the start-finish line. And he'll now take the lead. So it's a big push now from Kiefer required. He has swapped on to the hard compounded tyres, as now we watch Jake Benham now rise up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Medium tyres obviously strapped to his car. How long can he take those into the race as DRS opens up for him? Will he make the crucial move? Will he make the crucial overtake? You get the feeling that he does need to try and get himself into some clean air to at least make these medium tyres work for him, Jack.
Yeah, and as well, he doesn't want to use up too much of his battery in doing that, though. Then he'll be vulnerable towards the end of his stint. So he's sitting pretty right now, Jake Benham, on those mediums. Marcel Kiefer coming out in free air. He's got to get temperature into those tyres, as we all very much know. He's got 6 seconds up to the back of Jarno Watmir now in that car, but he's got the freshest tyres of anybody. So let's see if that strategy pays off for him. We've still got some time to go before we see these guys come in up the front. But Barry Burman now back into the net race lead. Jake Benham 2nd at the moment on the mediums. Lucas Blakely behind. Danny Perezne, Wilson Hughes, followed by Brendan Lee, Tomek Paragis, Simon Weigang, Alvaro Caraton, and Time and Shooter, the other car on the medium tyres, who's running well inside the top 10. So I think it's going to be a lull in proceedings for a little while now. This is the sort of the phase that we were talking about. Everybody just settling in, saving tyres, saving ERS. And then once the pit stops start, that's when the real fun is going to start. But now Jake needs to make sure that he stays in DRS of Barry Burman. Barry is looking very comfortable out there. 0.6 of a second is the gap at the moment. Lucas Blakely sitting comfortably in behind him in P3. And just, of course, he's got his teammate in front of him as well, which is a big help for him as well as they come across the line to begin another lap. But everyone's still in a big, long DRS train at the moment, all the way down to P17, which has been occupied by Jarno Watmere, who's really struggling at the moment, George, I have to say.
Yeah, he's not having the ideal race. Currently sat 8th, very nearly 9/10 of a second away from Philip Prejneder, as we now watch Fabrizio Donoso make his way up through towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Of course, in the Ferrari, getting closer and closer to the rear of Daniele Haddad as now they rise up through this section. He'll have the Kemmel Straight to take next. Of course, if he can get himself in the slipstream, he might be able to open up a chance overtake here leading in towards Les Combes. DRS opened up here for the Scuderia Ferrari, but not quite able to dispatch that of the Williams of Daniele Haddad, who was confirmed Williams this season. Great to see Daniele back here in amongst F1 Esports as well, and certainly has become a mainstay, has become very much part of the team, and a big character as well, Jim.
Oh yeah, he's a great character to have on the grid as well. Wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's in there in P12. He's got Donoso behind him. He's got Joni Tormola in front of him. So sitting comfortably at the moment, still in DRS of the cars in front, which is the main thing that he needs to make sure he does. Barry Burman starting to extend the gap a little bit to Jake Benham, who's sitting P2. Mediums maybe not feeling the best right now, and the hards starting to come into their own now. So Blakely now, he's got an absolute full charge of battery in his car as well. Barry not quite a full battery, but he's got plenty to use as they come down into the bus stop chicane again. But Barry is in full control of this, you have to say, at the moment. And Blakely, I think he feels like he wants to get past Benham now and wants to make sure he stays in touching distance of his teammate. Gap was at 9/10 of a second briefly as they come to the bus stop chicane. So it's getting dangerously close to losing DRS, and I just have the feeling that Blakely wants to get past on this lap.
Yeah, no, I get the feeling he does too. He is really late on the brakes, heading through La Source, gets in right into the rear of Jake Benham. He would much prefer to see his McLaren ahead of the Haas of Jake Benham as they now rise up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon yet again. This time on lap 8 of 22, and you get the feeling that now is the time for Blakely to send it, certainly to come up and join his teammate to go 1 and 2. The McLaren now going side by side with the Haas of Jake Benham as they head up through Les Combes, still side by side. They bash wheels, and Blakely has to escape into the off-track section, rounding through Malmedy now. Benham trying to hold on diligently to that second place, though. Blakely with the inside line now through Brachel's corner, and he forces the issue. Second place now for Lucas Blakely. The Scot now moves his way up, of course, the man who beat Sebastian Vettel at the Race of Champions. He is now second place here on the grid here at Spa, with Benham now down into third.
Oh, he had to work for that, didn't he? He had to go down the escape road as Jake was not letting him have the corner too easily. He tried to go around the outside, and now had to use a lot of his ERS to get back into the DRS of his teammate there. So great move from Lucas Blakely down the inside of Brussels as well. All was very, very tight through there, but they all came out in the end. And there you go. So Benham demoted to P3, and his tyres are not feeling the best right now. But now it's McLaren 1 and 2 in this race. And it's you can see Barry just sort of backing off a little bit there, just to make sure he get his teammate to give him DRS down the next part of the race as well. But Jake now demoted to P3. He's going to be under pressure from Danny Berezne very shortly as well. He's been having a really solid race in there in P4. In P3, in front of him is Jake Benham. So that'll be his next target on his list. But no sign of the hard runners coming in just yet, and we can sort of be able to get an indication of how the medium tyres are performing or how long they may be able to go. So we're not expecting the hard runners to come in just yet, but McLaren 1 and 2, a familiar sight in this one. And of course, it's great for their constructors' hopes at the moment, because their nearest rivals are Ferrari, who are down in P6 and P12 at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely superb to see. Certainly, McLaren have come back fighting. Patrick Saipos, another man who's fighting now, ahead of Daniele Haddad. He goes up into 13th now as they head through Les Combes. So a great visit now from Saipos. And he's now going to look to chase on Fabrizio Donoso, who was, of course, clipping at the heels of Daniele Haddad earlier on. And now it's Saipos who has come in to join the fun. And he has now also moved up a place as well. Now 9/10 away from the Chilean Fabrizio Donoso. Joni Tormola, 11th place too. Further up, Tomi Perez is trying to gain on Brendan Lee. And he is currently flirting with the half a second difference in between him and the young Brit, who currently sits in 6th place, trying to chase Wilson Hughes. Still within the DRS of Wilson Hughes as well, so not too much to concern himself with, but he won't want to leave that DRS deficit, because of course that will mean that he will be exposed to that atomic paralysis. We know what the pole's pace is like. It is certainly relentless, to say the least, and he's been with Veloce for so many years. They saw his potential as a youngster coming through in the world of the Formula One league racing community, and has really shown what he can do in amongst the F1 Esports Challengers. Benham has finally boxed as well. 8 laps accrued on those medium tyres, Jack Cannan, so they've only gone another 4 laps more, essentially, than what the soft tyres have.
Yeah, we've got Ferrari coming in as well. Brendan Lee's coming down. An early stop for him to switch onto the mediums from the hard tyre. Interesting call from Ferrari there. Let's see if that works out for them. Benham into the pit lane onto hard tyres as well, and he'll swap onto those. So Brendan Lee swapping from hard to medium, and Benham going the opposite way, medium to hard. So let's see what the pace is like for Brendan Lee now, and see if he can get those tyres at 12 laps. So Simon Weigang moving in front of Tomek Paragic down the straight there. Really great showing from Simon today. Keep pointing it out, but he's on a fantastic drive at the moment. And just looking as well, Samuel Bayan getting past Daniele Haddad just about into the chicane as well, as he tries to make a recovery through the field as well. But Brendan Lee straight by Jake Benham down the Kemmel straight as well. No fight put up by Jake, and he won't have the tyre temperature to fight with that. So just looking up front as well, Barry out to 9/10 of a second now. He's controlling this. He's nearly pulling away from his teammate, and he's got battery to use as well. So this is a fabulous drive so far, and he's just holding the gap just at 9/10 of a second and nearly breaking DRS to his teammate. Yeah,
he certainly is. Lucas Blakely working hard to try and get himself within the deficit. Danny Beresne also having a sterling drive as well, 3rd place at the moment, obviously due to the fact that pit stops have now been accrued for the likes of Jake Benham. And Brendan Lee also swapping onto the medium tyres, so a big choice swap there for the Ferrari driver. Samuel Bayan is who we saw, made his move past Daniele Haddad. Philip Prejneda also looking to make the same move as well, as we can see him as we run on board, coming through Blanchimont corner. Danny Beresne now, he'll move into 2nd place, because into the pits comes Lucas Blakely, now boxing on 9-lap-old hard tyres. A very interesting swap indeed. Only a solitary lap after those that boxed from the mediums. So let's wait and see what this delivers. You'd expect off that evidence, Jack, that Barry Burman would respond.
Yeah, but we kind of forgot about him, George. Marcel Kiefer, he's going to jump ahead of them all, because remember he stopped very, very early on the soft tyres. He went an aggressive strategy. He's going to have the track position compared to Lucas Blakely. So watch out for Marcel Kiefer here. Now he's on older hard compound tyres, but he should be able to get those tyres quite far. So watch out to see how this works out for Marcel Kiefer. He's got a 3.5-second lead for Lucas Blakely. Blakely coming out just in front of Brendan Lee, but of course he's got to get tyre temperature in as well. Wilson Hughes getting out in front of Jake Benham as well. So Brendan Lee has worked his way up to the back of Lucas Blakely as well. So this is a great strategy so far from Brendan Lee, and see if he can make this early undercut work on the McLarens. So Barry's now going to, you would, as you pointed out, George, he's going to have to respond this lap, because it seems the undercut, by the looks of how much time that Brendan Lee gained, is very powerful. He's challenging Lucas Blakely through no name. Yeah, he certainly is, and they're going certainly together in tandem pretty much, heading through Pouhon. Nothing separates them. 3.5 tenths is literally all it is between that of Brendan Lee and that of Lucas Blakely, but Kiefer, crucially enough, ahead of Blakely by 3.5 seconds, folks. 3.5 seconds is now 3.6. So Kiefer pulling off a wonderful strategy indeed, as now we're seeing Daniele Haddad off, and yes, he is backwards, a spin heading through the middle sector, and that sees the Williams now planted off track, and certainly Haddad seemed to be struggling with pace as well. We saw him spin, and now Jarno Opmeer has moved up into 7th place as well, and chasing Philip Prejneda still for that 6th place on track. And we can confirm that both Prejneda, Burman are now in the pits, as well as Patrick Saipos. So now Paradis leads the way. Where is Kiefer? As now we're watching him come through the field now. He rounds La Source. Will he hold on to that advantage ahead of Barry Burman as we now watch the cars come through? There's Burman's car coming out to the pit lane. Marcel Kiefer, a masterclass strategy. He is now net leader here at Spa. Yeah, great strategy from Marcel Kiefer, and as well, Brendan Lee has managed to undercut Danny Berezne as well. So Brendan Lee is now officially, if we discount the strategy from Marcel Kiefer, is now on for a podium here. Great strategy from Brendan Lee, but Marcel Kiefer now net race lead so far on that alternate strategy, 2 seconds in front of Barry Burman, but Burman managing to overcut Lucas Blakely. Great job by him as well to stay out, but of course he's now got to work the tyre temperature, and Blakely is his championship rival as well as his teammate. A little bit of side-by-side going on behind Wilson Hughes, trying to go around the outside through Brussels on Danny Berezne, inside for No Name. If you can make this work, that's a stunning move. He does. Great move from Wilson Hughes around the outside of the hairpin. Made it work on those warmed up tyres and moves up into P9, and that is net P4, P5 for Wilson Hughes. Excellent move.
Yeah, great move indeed from Wilson Hughes, taking that Brachel's bend very, very tight, certainly trying to squeeze every little bit of track he could to usurp that of Danny Berezne, and now he's going to look to try and drive on now and attack that of Brendan Lee. Wilson Hughes, just to note, has a lap fresher tyres than what Brendan Lee has, so that could make all the difference in the world as we head into crunch time towards the end of the race. Obviously, every little bit of tread is worthwhile, so let's keep an eye on the Scot as well as we make our way through towards the latter stages with only 10 laps left to go. Lucas Blakely now right on the rear of Barry Burman, getting closer and closer. More pit stops applied now. Prejneda down, moving into the pit lane, as well as Tomek Paradzis. Time and Shooter now leads out on circuit, though yet to stop. So does Jarno Otmir, but Marcel Kiefer, the overall leader now in this race, with Burman currently locked in fourth, and the gap between the pair now out to 1.6 seconds, Jack. It's growing.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's not going to grow for very long because those mediums are going to work in very clean. You see it's now starting to come down, 1.3 seconds, so it's going to be tough, a very tough ask for Marcel Kiefer to hang on, but as well, it could come back to him later on. Let's see now, Danny Berezne coming back at Wilson Hughes down the straight. A little bit defensive move. Here comes Berezne up the inside, not quite enough there. A little bit wide from Wilson Hughes to the second part of Lake Common. Berezne, a track extends while trying to do it and picks up a penalty as well, so pressure from Wilson Hughes forces the error, and he now has to deal with a 3-second penalty, but that may be removed later on. But even so, again, the pressure and everything that Wilson Hughes is throwing at Danny Berezne pays off for him in the end.
Yeah, it certainly does. He defended very, very well indeed. Berezne not able to certainly come back at Wilson Hughes, sustains a penalty in the midst of battle, and unfortunately that'll be added to his time as well. But Berezne not done yet. He is absolutely fighting at tooth and nail to try and get back ahead of Wilson Hughes. Danny Elliott-Dad unfortunately retiring as well from the race. It just has not gone to plan for the Italian. Barry Burman currently 4 tenths away from Kiefer. He's brought it right in. The pace on those mediums is working well for the Iranian as they make their way down towards the next left at Blanchimont, and he's getting closer and closer to that of Marcel Kiefer as they now head down towards bus stop now, coming out of turn 18 in towards turn 19, the final corner before they venture onto their lap 13 of 22, and as they do so, work their way down towards the source. Burman is going to have a huge opportunity to get the move done, heading through Kemmel Straight, certainly with the DRS opened up as well. So Marcel Kiefer has got to get his best defensive helmet on now, because he's got 2 McLarens coming to party as they now head up through Eau Rouge and Radillon. Barry Burman with Lucas Blakely. Could this be a 3 wide? Now going side by side, it's Kiefer and Blakely. Kiefer dropping back now as Blakely looks to move ahead to the 2 McLarens in tandem, going neck and neck, certainly nose to tail. It is now Burman, net leader of the race now, P3 on track. Blakely, net second. Oh, he spun. Oh, dearie me. Barry Burman spinning on the outset of Malmedy, and that forfeits the position to Lucas Blakely, with Marcel Kiefer now 4th place on track, Jack Canan.
Oh, rare mistake from Barry Burman. Dropped it all by himself on the curb coming out of Lake Com, and drops now into the clutches of Alvaro Caraton and co, who just came out of the pit lane. Big mistake. What a moment for Barry Burman, gifting the net race lead to Lucas Blakely, his championship rival. Again, an amazing turn of events here. Brendan Lee now up on the back of Marcel Kiefer, and now he's net P2 at the moment. Wilson Hughes on for a 3rd place now. Barry Burman down to 2.9 seconds off the back of Jake Benham as well. That is a very rare mistake from the current championship leader, and he's now going to be under a lot of pressure. He's got Alvaro Caraton, Tomek Paradzis, and he got Simon Weiga as well. Barry Burman is in danger of dropping out of the points here if he doesn't manage to hold on to this position. He's in P9. He's got Caraton behind and Paradzis behind, who are on Well, Tomek is on much fresher tyres as well, so this will be a very tough ask. This could be a major turning point in the championship already as we go back now just to see what's going on. Lap 15 of 22, crossing the line. Marcel Kiefer still hanging on. Brendan Lee, he needs to clear Kiefer on this lap. He wants to get after Blakely. Blakely starting to get away now. Brendan Lee in with a good chance here. Up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. The battery flashing on Kiefer's car. There's going to be absolutely no contest whatsoever. Brendan Lee getting past. Kiefer doesn't fight it. And now Brendan Lee moves into net P2 in this race. Has the benefit of the arrest to drag him along as well. So Brendan Lee now in the shot, with a shot of the victory here. But you have to point out, George, I just want to point out, Simon Shute has done 14 laps on the set of mediums. He still hasn't pitted, and neither has Jarno. So they're actually going to end up in the lead battle, for want of a better term, but they're trying to go as absolutely long as possible and pray for a safety car.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, the case. And I bet they were crossing their fingers when Burman spun that he would cause a little bit of an issue, maybe even a wreck, to bring the safety car out. Obviously, that would put Jarno and Simon Shooter in prime position for race success. But you can see now that Lucas Blakely has actually caught up with the Flying Dutchman, who is certainly not having one of his better races here at Spa right now. Second place on track, but hasn't yet pitted. 14 laps accrued on those hard tyres. He's going to try and go as long as possible. Maybe strap on the softs as well towards the end to maybe enlist the fastest lap as well. But Blakely, who has certainly driven impeccably as he has done so all season long, now ahead of his teammate after that serious spin there for Barry Burman that has now effectively cost him the race win. As you can now see the cars make their way in towards the bus stop chicane, and now Otmir is right on the front wing of Lucas Blakely. Simon Shooter has finally come into the pit lane. Jarno Otmir, the sole man yet to box out on track, as now Brendan Lee marshals in the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:44 to boot, and he's right on the tail of Blakely as they now head out of La Source now. Jarno Otmir heading up in towards Eau Rouge and Radion, with now in behind Lucas Blakely, the Scot, who is now going to look to take the overall lead out on track. Jarno looks to try and defend as he looks to hold track position at this very sensitive point in the race. Blakely with the outside line sends it through. He takes the lead. Brendan Lee looks to come and join him as well. He moves up into second place as well on track. Blakely first, Brendan Lee second, Otmir now down into third.
Yeah, Brendan's in a little bit of trouble. He's got absolutely no battery to use, and Blakely's now going to start to use and try to break the DRS. But that was courteous from Jarno. He stayed off the throttle coming into that corner as well to allow Brendan Lee to go through as well. So good stuff from him there as he continues around to towards the end of the race. And I don't think he can wait for this race to be over now. Simon Shooter down in 17th he went medium to soft. Impressive from him. And as you can see now, Lucas Blakely has broken the DRS on Brendan Lee behind him. So it's an uphill battle now for Brendan Lee to try and get something out of this. And Wilson Hughes is not too far behind him either. So there's still a chance for Wilson Hughes to score maybe a P2 in this one. But Blakely now in control in front of Brendan Lee. And it's going to take a major instant for him to maybe try and get back in here. But it's an interesting race so far. But you would expect Jarno Otmir now to come into the pit lane, rolls on a set of soft compound tyres and steal that fastest lap off of the cars behind it, and expect him to peel in on this lap, and he does indeed come into the pit lane. So that now will sort the order out as to what it actually is. Lucas Blakely leads the Grand Prix. Brendan Lee in second, 1.2 off the back. Wilson Hughes behind by 1.4, but is still under severe pressure from Danny Berezne. Marcel Kiefer behind him in P5. Then it's a 2-second gap back to Jake Benham, and Barry Burman now. He has settled, he hasn't lost any positions, and he's now in P7. Fighting with Jake Benham for P6, but dropped it from the race lead. And it's going to get interesting now to see how far he can climb his way back up now. But Danny Berezne on a big move now on Wilson Hughes down the straight. Doesn't even have his DRS open, side by side into Les Combes, and Berezne gets the move back on Wilson Hughes. But remember, he does have that 3-second penalty. And Burman as well, getting past Jake Benham into Les Combes, and that will promote him up to P6. Let's see if he can get any further up than that. But Danny Berezne into third, but of course Wilson Hughes knows he has the penalties, so didn't need to fight him too hard.
No, not at all. I think obviously a podium still on the table for Wilson Hughes as long as he can stay within the delta of Danny Berezne. He's currently sat 0.6 away approximately, just above 5.5 as they venture through Pouhon. Of course, Danny Berezne is going to do his absolute utmost to try and hold on to his position. He's trying to close in on Brendan Lee. Of course, him and Brendan Lee, former teammates at Mercedes. And that was, of course, when Brendan Lee would go on to win his second title and become a 2-time PSGL world champion is currently sharing that plaudit with Jarno Otmir, who also has 2 F1 Esports Pro Championship wins with Brendan Lee as well. As we can now watch the cars make their way through Blanchimont down through towards the bus stop chicane. Lucas Blakely leads, 1.5 seconds is all that separates now between Brendan Lee and Lucas, though Lucas using that battery to send that time gap outwards and provide himself with a little bit of a cushion. And once he's out of that clean air, outside of that DRS, he can then just focus on his own race and just try and bring yet another win home. But this has been an absolutely tremendous drive by the Scot indeed. And Beresne now in with every chance because he has DRS on his old teammate on his teammate Brendan Lee as now they rise up through Eau Rouge and Radion. He will open it up now. Wilson Hughes, of course, 6/10 away as well. He'll benefit from the use of DRS too as now they work their way up through towards Les Combes. Still no move there for the Hungarian as he comes in towards Les Combes now. Still in 3rd place. Wilson Hughes all over his tail, though there is a gap now between Kiefer and Hughes. It sits at 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have heard as well that we reckon that the penalty that Beresne picked up was a double warning, so that would mean that penalty will be deleted. So this is for position on the track right now if he does manage to get that removed. So Beresne trying to get himself on the 2nd step of the podium. Coming through Pouhon now, 1.8 seconds the gap to Lucas Blakely. So Lucas now in full control of this Grand Prix and is on course to take his 2nd victory of the season and really close the gap to his teammate now. It was 11 points. It'll be a hell of a lot closer at the end of this race if it stays the way it is. But there's still a couple more laps to go in this one. So Danny Beresne now the man to try and challenge Brendan Lee, and Barry Burman starting to close to Marcel Kiefer as well, who's out of battery, struggling on the hard tyres as well. But a round of applause for Marcel for trying something totally out there as well. So Barry Burman going to recover by the looks of it to at least P5 if it stays the way it is. We're going to go on to lap 19 of 22. Beresne closing back up to the back of Brendan Lee. And let's see if he's going to be able to do anything about it. He's got 2 laps fresher tyres than both of the cars in front of him as they cross the line. Well, 1 lap fresher tyres than Lucas Blakely, 2 lap fresher tyres than Brendan Lee. So he has got that tiny bit of extra grip, which will certainly help him as they now go down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. He has got battery to use. Will he go for the overtake here now? 2.5 seconds to Blakely, so it's a huge moment a huge move for him now if he can do this. Jarno Otmir with the fastest lap now. Blakely is now 2.6 seconds from Beresne now. Is he using overtake? Is he not? He's not using overtake, just pure DRS. Here comes Beresne on the inside. Brendan Lee does not fight, and Beresne up into 2nd place. Sterling drive from the Hungarian so far.
Yeah, brilliant drive indeed. Danny Beresne now up into 2nd place, goes past his former teammate Brendan Lee, who is now down in 3rd with Wilson Hughes right on his rear. Great drive from Wilson Hughes as well, 4th place currently, and well within the fight for a podium too. Currently just outside the 3/10 bracket, still 1.6 seconds ahead of Marcel Kiefer. Barry Burman right in behind Kiefer as well, looking for that P5. Of course, we'll have to try and just maximise what he can get out of this race. Obviously, as things stand right now, the best that Burman could probably hope for at this stage is that P5, Jack, at this stage. Of course, Jake Benham now is fighting it out with Tomek Peranzis. That's for 7th place on the standings, but they are also within that DRS train, starting with Marcel Kiefer, who's in 5th place. As we now watch the cars now come through the final sector. Danny Beresne 2nd, 2.8 seconds now the gap. Lucas Blakely really pulling away as things stand with Brendan Lee now in Sector 3. We've had a yellow flag further back as well. I believe that's between Jarno Otmir and Timon Shooter, who are coming together. Incidentally, Jarno Otmir now making his move past Timon as they now go side by side through the Blanchimont corner. Jarno Otmir now outside line, leading down through towards bus stop, and he is now up into 16th.
Yeah, that was actually Timon Shooter went off by himself in that corner, and Jarno Otmir pouncing and going around the outside of Blanchimont. So he had some entertainment, a great move as well that he managed to get done in the end. He's up into 16th place, but they're unfortunately down about 6 seconds off the next car. So they're the only two that they're fighting for position as Barry Burman makes the move on Marcel Kiefer, and he moves up to P5 in this race, and is still not out of a chance of getting back some points here. He's up to P5, but again, he'll be kicking himself for that small error he made on the curb on the exit of Les Combes. Only 1.2 seconds to Wilson Hughes. If he can get himself inside the DRS, he's still with a chance here of maybe getting himself onto the podium here as well. So let's see what he can do. Of course, with the penalty, if it isn't removed, he'll be promoted up to up to third or up to fourth anyway if he stays where he is, but there's still some work to do for him. There's going to be 2 laps to go move across the line next time, and Blakely has opened the gap out to 3 seconds at this moment in time. So that is a big lead for Lucas Blakely, and again, big for the championship in that regard as well. 11 points was the gap coming in here, and this would make it 2 wins apiece for the McLarens here in PSGL. That would make it a dominant, a McLaren dominance almost. The only other man who's won so far this season, apart from Lucas and apart from Barry, is Jarno. I think that just shows you.
Yeah, just goes to show indeed. Incidentally, Simon Shooter has retaken P16 off Jarno Watmere as well, so he is back ahead of the Dutchman as Brendan Lee now heads through towards the source, currently sat just under 0.6 of a second away from Danny Beresne, and you'd imagine that he has been conserving that battery as well. He's managed to get at least some of it, currently sat at just over 30% as he now heads up through Eau Rouge and Radion. He'll then take the next stripe before heading up the Kemmel Straight. He'll have the DRS opened up as well as he now looks to try and challenge Danny Beresne heading up towards Lake Com. Will he open the door? He certainly will. Brendan Lee having a look up the inside. No, he decides to back out of it, stay in behind that of Danny Beresne. Just hold on to DRS, hold on to the slipstream, look to charge that battery, and then hang on to an assault on the final lap for that P2 position.
Yeah, well, that has done that small little thing of Patrick Sipos out of the race as well. Down in that's in Lake Com, I think, by the looks of it. He's done the same thing Burman did. He spun it on the curb and has hit the wall pretty hard there on the way through that corner, and is unfortunately DNF'd from the Grand Prix. If that was any earlier in the race, that would have been a safety car. But there's just too little time for that. But unfortunately for Patrick Sipos, exactly the same mistake as Burman. But Burman got away lucky by the looks of it. He didn't even hit the wall. And he's up to P5 and is now on the back of Wilson Hughes, trying to get himself back onto the podium here. So there's still time, there's still an opportunity for Burman to do damage limitation here as he comes up to begin the final lap. Lucas Blakely now with nearly a 4-second advantage. Utter domination so far from Lucas Blakely. And now he's just got one more lap of Spa to complete before he can claim himself as the victor of Spa. But the fight behind is certainly not over between Brendan Lee and Danny Beresne, Wilson Hughes and Barry Burman, and Marcel Kiefer still sitting only a second back as well. There's a huge train behind as well, led by Alvaro Caraton, back to Tomek Brajic, Simon Feiga, Yanni Sormala, Fabrizio Donoso. They're all in a big long train as well. But let's see if we can sort this battle out between these two. I think Beresne has got enough in the tank. He's got more battery. He's got the DRS to defend with as well as they come up the hill. So it's going to be interesting now between everyone behind there. They're going side, but they're going 3 wide down towards Eau Rouge. Up Eau Rouge they go. And how have they come out of that one alive? Yanni Tormala going off the road. There's a huge one there. Simon Feigang into the wall at Eau Rouge. Big one off at the very last lap. And it all got a bit too hectic, a bit too tight for space there as they came up the hill with Donoso going for the move on the outside of Caraton into Lake Com. Side by side, Caraton round the outside. Paragic finds the space on the inside of Donoso down the hill. There's a huge moment for him there. Paragic now on the inside for Brussels. Gets up the inside of the corner. Tormala looking for room as well, and they all file through single file. Very scary moment for everybody there. There's a lot of penalties in front. And actually, despite everything, I think Samuel Bain may be able to get himself into the points after starting last on the grid here. Good performance from Samuel Bain if he can hang on to this one in this Grand Prix. But, well, that was a little bit of an excitement right at the very end there. I think that was almost a death sentence and almost a death wish they were wishing upon themselves right there. But no matter as they come up towards Blanchimont for the final time. Utter domination, helped out by the mistake by his teammate, but this will certainly help him in the championship. His second victory of the season for the Scotsman, won in Austria, and he's now going to take another scalp. He wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Lucas Blakely back on top in Spa. Danny Beresne across the line for second place with a penalty removal, we think. Brendan Lee behind Wilson Hughes. Barry Burman for the moment is fourth, and we wait to see who's going to get the final points playing positions as they all fan out. Look at that, 3 wide as they come across the line in the background. Unbelievable as they come through there. Samuel Bain recovering to 9th after starting from P20. Really great effort from Samuel Bain. And Tomek Brajic by 8/100ths loses out and finishes in P10. 3 wide across the line, and they managed to sort themselves out in the end. But Lucas Blakely, dominant in the end.
Yeah, very good win for Lucas Blakely, and he'll be delighted with that, certainly carrying on his great run of form as well this season, adapting to the new game very well indeed here on F1 22. And we will, of course, be bringing you interviews with the drivers as well after that race. What a tremendous result indeed for Blakely. And he is going to be the man to take the top step of the podium, of course, all in the papaya orange as he now makes his way to the top. Alongside him, Brendan Lee. Of course, that result will be reviewed because, of course, Beresnay was up there with a penalty that may not have been a penalty. We think there might have been a double warning. So it could well be the case that Brendan Lee gets moved down to P3 with Beresnay in second. And, of course, Lucas Blakely enjoying the win in first place as well. More points going to the Scot in hopes of securing yet his first championship this season. Of course, he's got to beat Barry Burman to do it. Lucas Blakely confirmed, your race winner. The Scot has done it here in round 5. Brendan Lee, second place on track, but we will, of course, know that Beresnay has had a double warning, therefore leading to a penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty. And you would imagine that he would be back into second with Brendan Lee in third. With Wilson Hughes showing third on track as well. Barry Burman fourth after fighting back from that issue. Beresnay fifth, Kiefer sixth, Benham seventh, Caraton eighth. Bayan rounds out the top 9 and top 10, Tomek Paradzis. But what a race, certainly, folks. What a moment. We witnessed certainly plenty. It wasn't to be for Jarno Watmere either, Jack. Seemed to struggle all race long. But what a win for Lucas Blakely.
That's exactly what he needed as well in the championship to close the gap back up to his teammate, who we've seen again a rare error from Barry Burman around Spa. Spa doesn't like Barry, or Barry doesn't like Spa, because every time he comes, something hasn't quite worked, even if he was in full control there. If you remember back to the first season, he got a drive-through penalty, and then another time that he comes here, he ends up spinning of his own accord while out in a very comfortable lead in the end. So there's still obviously a curse for Barry around here, but Lucas Blakely utterly dominant in the end, did a great job to bring that home for the victory and closes up the gap in the championship as well. But yeah, there's still a lot there's still a lot of questions to be asked, of course, and there's still plenty of time left in this championship. We're at the halfway point right now, but that win for Lucas is exactly what he needed, with Barry finishing in, if Beresnay's penalty gets removed, it was P5 for Barry, so a nice points gain for Lucas there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be heading over to the interview room now, folks. Just want to say, before we do so, a big thank you to everyone for being so patient here today. We did get a race in the end. Obviously, we did get a watchable race as well. Apologies, obviously, for the issues that we had today. But we're going to head over to the interview room and talk things out with the drivers, the guys of the hour. Certainly, they've given us certainly plenty to watch and enjoy as well. We'll kick off, I think, with the man who took the victory, Lucas Blakely. Lucas, I don't expect you thought that you would, strike P1 as easy as you did. Obviously, Burman facing an uncomfortable moment where, of course, he spun on the outset of Malmedy. That must have surprised you as well as all of us did.
Well, the initial reaction was, that's not good, because literally, we were DRSing together, so I felt very exposed. I'd pitted the one lap earlier, and I knew those people behind with fresher tyres, so I was... yeah, albeit, even on the stream, it was literally like, oh, no. That's not ideal, because that was, we were working smart together, so, yeah, that was a bit of a sketchy one, but, yeah, if it looked easy, it wasn't, because I was pushing all the way to the end of the race. It was not a straightforward race at all, albeit I don't know how it looks on the broadcast, but, yeah, I don't actually know if I've won, though, because, I had the thing with Jake earlier in the race, which in my opinion I was more than fair with. I got shoved off. I was more than fair. But I went off the track, I gave him the position back, and then he was really slow out the next corner, and then I then overtook him then, but I don't really know what to think at the moment. I can't really celebrate anything because it's a bit of there'll be usual stewards process, so I can't really enjoy this one far too much, but it is what it is. I'm just more focused on how I drove, and I did what I could in the situation. But yeah, GG everybody, unlucky to Barry as well. I don't really know what happened. I think it just looked like a sort of instant snap. which happens quite often on this game, where the rear just drops off very quickly, and even though it's never happened 100 times in practice, it happens right when it you don't want it to. But that's just yeah, really unfortunate. But yeah, GG everybody, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a helter-skelter race from the start, but obviously it's given you, a good platform in terms of points. Obviously, it's been a very, very good start to the game cycle for you. You seem to have adapted well to the F1 22 game. Obviously, there's been little bugs and fits and starts that we've all had to cope with. How tough is it to prepare when you've got situations such as that, where obviously you have these little niggly moments, where the game doesn't quite function the way it does? So obviously, I can imagine it applies a lot of pressure to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's not straightforward. I mean, learning a new game every year, especially this year. This year's been a massive, massive learning curve. I mean, on the surface of it, it looks good with, the result side of things, but I can promise you I don't take these things for granted, because it takes so much effort to, like, learn this game. Like, I've had to change so many things about 1,000 times. I mean, it's honestly a nightmare trying to understand this game on a consistent basis. Track to track, everything changes. Nothing seems to work universally. It's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, this year is especially difficult to get your head round. And honestly, I don't come into these races like stupidly confident, like it's going to be a walk in the park. It's not, because it's so hard to pull it out when it matters. I know the results look, straightforward, but the process behind all of that literally isn't. And I mean, it's going well now, but in quite frank honesty, I would rather go well in esports than right now. So it's about maintaining the form. I mean, it's all good doing well now, but it will mean absolutely nothing to me if, the work goes to waste, effectively, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, still got a lot of work to do. We're nowhere near perfect. Still things that need to be improved. But that's the mindset you've got to have, because if you think, oh, it's fine, yeah, we're quick enough, and you don't push for that next half a tenth, well, enjoy going out in Q1, because that's how brutal this business is. And it's funny, because I had a message in my chat, literally like 5 minutes ago. It's like, why are you sweating? You're playing a game. And my response was, you sit in this seat. Like, this is, it's not about arrogance, it's about it. You have to put your whole mind and body into it. If you don't, you'll not perform at your best. So.
Well,
deep breath. Yep, that was it.
Yeah, well, no, we've seen it from the Deltas, obviously, how close it can get. But forever the grinder, forever the hard worker, Lucas. I want to say a big congratulations on that victory, my friend. And obviously, best of luck for the rest of the season. Obviously, this could go a long way towards the championship. We'll have to wait and see, but congratulations nonetheless.
Thank you very much, guys. And I'll see you next week for, I believe, it's Mexico, right? Have I got it right?
I believe so. Can we get confirmation?
I hope so. I'm going to guess yes. I'm just going to say yes.
Yeah,
let me think I'm right.
We'll go with it. We'll go with it.
We had this discussion last time.
Yeah, I know. This is literally how I confirm the track for next week. Like, by the way, guys. But yeah, thank you very much for having me. And I mean, do you know that it's like under investigation with the thing with Jake? Because honestly, I don't know. I'm just sort of don't know how to feel at the moment.
We haven't heard anything.
I've heard nothing.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything. So this could well be a race win up to now, anyway.
I mean, I can't really enjoy it too much, because I mean, albeit I didn't feel like I did much, let's say, wrong, it always overshadows it, because you just never know. So yeah, that's just that's the way it goes. I thought I was fair. I gave enough room. I got shoved off. I gave the place back, and then that's the way it goes. But yeah, and it's not the one thing I want to clear up as well. I'm sorry, I'm taking up more of your time on the broadcast, but
no, not at all.
Everyone watching in the stream, everyone watching PSGL, everyone watching different live streams, you don't need to make it personal every time. Like when, let's say, so today's example, Jake and I are having a fight on track. That doesn't mean I'm gonna, next time I see Jake, I'm gonna slap him over the back of the head. That's not how it works. We don't take it personally. Racing is racing. Racing is the business.
Yeah.
But I just want to. A reason I say these things is because I feel like the fan culture can be a bit too twisted, where they make these rivalries up. Do you
think that that F1 esports has turned into pro wrestling, WWE style?
I would not say that, no. But I just think that. I just wish that everybody would, understand that when we're racing, sure, we're at each other's throats, but when you're off racing, it's, GG. There's two sides. You have an on switch and an off switch.
Yeah.
You know, and I just want to make, because obviously I'm talking in this debrief as such, like saying, oh well, I left space, yada yada, and people can take that as if I'm taking it personally. That's not how it works. It's not personal unless it's made personal. So you know, that's just, I just wanted to take the time to say that, because I feel like, you know, we can always be better within the community, and
100%.
that goes for myself as well. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not here to preach, but you know, I just feel sometimes it's a bit too toxic. I think, you know, it doesn't cost much to be nice. So
I think you're absolutely spot on with those concerns, Lucas. I think that's probably a thesis I think we can all share. I think certainly at this point, and never nice to see that those sorts of things happen in the community. But we appreciate you standing up and obviously saying that as well. I think that will obviously go a long way towards the viewers in the live chat as well here on PSGL. So yeah, definitely wise words there from yourself, and obviously again, massive congratulations today. Hopefully you can celebrate it at some point. We'll wait and see. Obviously that'll be up to the stewards' decisions, but very well done, mate. And obviously we wish you what could be Mexico next week.
Yeah,
it
could be.
There
we go. Yes,
it is Mexico. You were spot on. 10 points to Gryffindor for that.
Apologies for taking up extra time. Thanks for having me. And yeah, the other drivers are going to hate me now, because they're like, hurry up, shut up, and get off the disconnect. Just leave.
That could be our first question when we speak to them.
It's like, how much did you hate Lucas speaking? A lot. But anyway, I'm going to go before I get cancelled. See you later.
No
Love
problem.
you all. Ciao,
Good
ciao.
to see you, Luke.
See you next week.
Good to see you, Lucas. Good to see you, mate. Well done. Next up, we have Danny Berezne. Danny, I mean, what a resurgence from yourself as well. Second place, I believe, today. Obviously, as I understand it, there was some issues with with a double warning, I think, leading to a penalty. But you have to be pleased with that drive, because you were up there fighting at the top end.
Yeah, so my penalty will 100% be removed, because I got a double warning at one corner fighting with Wilson, who did nothing wrong. It was good, but I just made the switch back a little bit too extreme. But I only had one additional warning to that in the race, and that makes it a total of 2 warnings, which is not a 3 seconds penalty. This is one of my favorite circuit. The qualifying session was really hard. I nearly fell out of Q2. I had a very big slide in the second sector, but I'm really happy to save it. And to fight on the top with these special guys, really talented, so close even in this very long track, the longest track of the calendar. It was a pleasure, and I'm happy to be here. I have actually nothing else to say.
Well, I mean, tremendous response from yourself, obviously, given the fact that, you know, you've had to really fight to get back to the top end of things, especially with the grid getting so competitive this year. I mean, this is probably the closest we're going to get to F1 esports level at this point. But you're showing that you've still got the pace, Danny, that we've seen time and time again. Obviously, you have to be very confident going through to the rest of the game cycle.
Yeah, I wish every track was like Spa. I wish they released an F1 esports calendar and it's like 4 events, 3 races per event, and first race Spa, second race Spa, third race Spa, fourth race Spa, fifth race Spa, sixth race Spa, and I don't go on for the sake of the time of the viewers. And yeah, this track is awesome, but I try my best to play as much as I possibly can and master the other tracks as well, as it's all about just getting passionate about them, as Blakely said as well, never leaving any time on the table, never being happy enough, but always being confident enough to perform when it matters, and let's go.
Yeah, well, you certainly delivered that. I mean, thoughts and feelings heading towards the latter part of the season? Are you going to be working hard? Is there going to be a lot of grinding going on to extract more pace?
Yeah, obviously, I'm not happy. Even if Lucas is not happy, then I have to be really sad, actually depressed, because he seems to be faster than me at the moment, and if he's not happy and seeing places to find pace, then I need to do double the work to him.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's great to see you back at the top end, Danny, so congratulations on another great result, and hopefully we'll see that penalty taken away.
Yeah, thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Take care, Danny. Take care. Next up, we will bring in Wilson Hughes, of course. He's been waiting very patiently. We've heard from one Scott already during this broadcast. We're going to hear from another one now. Wilson Hughes, who could very easily lose that podium place if Danny Beresne's penalty gets removed. Wilson, what a race. Obviously very competitive at the top end. 4 drivers challenging for those podium places. You must feel good knowing the fact that you were on the pace with some of the best in the world out there.
Yeah, well, whether I get the podium or not, I don't care, because I feel like it's been a while since I've been in this interview box. We've had a few chances, like Bahrain, for example.
We're going to kick you out now.
Not, yeah, exactly, where it's not went well. But yeah, I mean, it's felt good. I think I've had the pace pretty much all season, apart from Austria, where I'm just, yeah, we don't talk about that. But apart from that, it's been a pretty good season. Luck hasn't been there totally, but yeah, I thought I'd join the interview box, as I feel like I've been deserving a podium for a while now, and it's just been kind of being punted about. But yeah, I can't be sad even if it is P4.
No, I mean, obviously, you look at the deficits. We saw the qualifying pace. There was plenty of drivers all within 3.5 tenths of a second, which was tremendous to see. And it just goes to show how on the money you have to be when it comes to pace here in this game. Does it just go to show that qualifying perhaps is more vital than the race to an extent?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know yourself, George, that watching these races a lot, qualifying is extremely important, especially considering they've changed the tyre rule. So, like last year, we can't start outside the top 10 and start in the harder tyre compared to the top 10 on the soft tyre. And I'm not going to explain how it works, but I'm sure you guys all know how it works. And but yeah, I won't do a Lucas Blakely and bore you too much with that explanation. But it's definitely much more crucial in qualifying this year. Yeah, pretty easy and self-explanatory.
Yeah, and preparation, getting ready for another season, obviously of F1 esports now. Obviously, you're going to be fighting to look to try and get yourself up into the prospects of a seat. And are you confident heading up to that point? Do you have a good feeling as to that season ahead? I'm going to try and extract something out of you at this point.
Yeah, well, either way, academy or main driver, I'm definitely looking forward to the season, helping whoever that may be in my team.
I'm trying, man.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to it, whether I'll be helping as an academy driver or not. Pace looks good in this game, so yeah, definitely looking forward to helping whatever team picks me for their lineup.
Well, what I do know, Jack, is that someone is going to pick him. So I do know that. I've extracted something. Wilson is going somewhere. I'm getting good at this information extraction thing. But yeah, no, Wilson, obviously congratulations, mate. A great effort. Getting into the podium places, that will probably get taken away from you. But hey, 4th place, not bad. Well done. And I'm sure we'll see you challenging again next week.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure, guys, and have a good night.
Yeah, take care, Wilson. Nice job. Next up, we have the man who danced around Malmedy, the guy who lost the rear end. It's Barry Burman. Barry, it wasn't to be, my friend. You had the win on the plate. You decided, though, to show us your best rodeo moves and send it for a spin out of Malmedy. Tell us about it.
Yeah, first of all, hello to you, Jack, and whoever watching. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I just got it. Like, you know, sometimes like I probably could have taken it slower, but just sometimes you just don't feel you're in the race. You're just pushing, like you're in the your own. Like I was like in that place that a pace was phenomenal all race. Like quality was phenomenal, pace was phenomenal. I was so comfortable. Like I haven't even got one warning, and then you know sometimes these things I would say just happen, even though that was just a rare mistake from myself. I don't know what happened. Just one moment, just bang, and I remember I was just shocked. Like one lap, and then yeah, I got rear wing damage. Like the car doesn't have any rear wing. Like yeah, it was orange damage. Like the car doesn't have any rear downforce. But yeah, at the end of the day, P4, P5, still not bad. But yeah, it is what it is. Learn from it. I'm not gonna do it next week.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. A tough visit, but obviously a learning curve as well. Obviously, we saw yourself and Lucas. We've seen you at the top end of things. Certainly, you guys seem to have nailed in the perfect pace. Certainly coming into a brand new game cycle, which is absolutely unbelievable at this point. Certainly, this very tender stage of the game. Do you see furthermore improvements coming? Do you think there's more to come, more to be extracted out of the game?
As I said like last week, and I'm gonna say it this week, I am always like that type of the person. Even if I do a really good lap, I'm always looking forward to get it again, like to go improve it. And you know, in this game, it's so easy to do this mistake. Like sometimes, like you just going, like you doing what I can say this. I did like maybe 100,000 laps on that corner, and I never ever that happened for me in the practice. But it's so easy, just little bit like in the wrong angle, and yeah, you will lose the car. And yeah, I'm just feeling so good in the game, just so comfortable. And as I said, I'm really looking forward. And yeah, I'm just gonna push more, keep pushing, keep learning, and yeah, looking forward to F1 Esport and next week for PSGL as well.
Yeah, well, we'll look forward to seeing you bounce back as well, Barry. Unlucky today. Obviously, these things can be turned around, but I'm sure when we head to Mexico, you'll be right back on it. So well done on the fight back, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you guys next week. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Take care, Barry. Take care. So, Jack, that is certainly it from our drivers. Obviously, a few solemn faces, a few happier faces, though, at the same time. Barry Burman obviously not jumping for joy at the fact that he decided to spin at Malmedy. But then, of course, you've got the very happy Danny Beresne, who sounds almost rejuvenated as a character, because this is probably the best we've seen from Danny Beresne in a long, long time.
Yeah, it is, and it's nice to see him so energetic, and that he feels like he has pace again, which is fantastic. Because well, we all know his trademark. His brakes probably working hard today, or his brake pedals had some abuse over the years. So I'm sure
I can envisage
a
pile of pedals in Danny's house, just a pile of broken pedals that is just stacking up.
I envision a hole in the wall behind it, from the pedals going through the wall. Yeah, but
they must spend a fortune on plaster.
Yeah, I wonder. Interesting. That might be some stuff for maybe an F1 Esports documentary. What is behind Danny Beresne's brake pedal? Let's see. But yeah, no, it's great to see, and today as well was good in another way, that it's made sure the championship stayed close, because there's always that fear that Barry was going to get so far ahead that we wouldn't have a title fight. But he decided to make things interesting and spin just to make it interesting, just like Max Verstappen did just last week. So
he did it for the championship.
Maybe did it for the championship, and well, because Brendan Lee couldn't do it on the formation lap, he decided to do it in the middle of the race. So hopefully we can have our formation lap next time by, because I do miss my Brendan Lee 360s on the way to the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could all do with some of that in our life, that's for sure. But folks, we want to say a big thank you to every single one of you for tuning in tonight. Obviously, things weren't ideal. I'd like to thank you all for being oh so patient, and if you could leave a like and also leave a subscribe to support PSGL, that'll go a long way certainly to our coverage heading through the rest of the season. We've got plenty of other broadcasts as well coming your way. We have got PlayStation as well as the rest of PC tiers as well to come to you. Not forgetting as well, PSGL is also bringing together a Gran Turismo League as well, and that has been kicking off lately. So if you like your Gran Turismo, make sure you stay tuned and watch that coverage too. Plenty of broadcasts happening here on the Premier Sim Gaming League's channel. If you want to check out PSGL as well on Twitter or on Instagram, you can find them at Premier Sim GL. Make sure you follow certainly follow those words, certainly Premier Sim GL. That is the tag. You can then follow or leave a like to their posts, or just check out any updates that come through. There's also links to the Discord as well if you're interested in driving too. If you want to check me out as well, my name is of course George Morgan, your commentator here at PSGL at George Morgan TV. That's where you can find me certainly on Twitter, and you can also find me on Instagram as well with the same tag, as well as Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, I have the same one. Jack, tell them your social if you please.
It is at Jack C Combs. There's two C's, guys. I say that every week.
Two C's. Yeah. Do not forget the 2 C's. So yes, guys, it's been a pleasure. It was Blakely who took the win tonight. Burman went for a spin, but what happened to Jana Wotmir? He was right down the bottom. Can he recover? We'll soon see at Mexico next week. Join us for that very, very soon. Take care of yourselves. Good night.